Hey, everybody. Welcome to Comic Book Curation. I'm Polly, and joining me, as always, is the Incorrigible Inquisitor 8.1 quiz. How are you doing this week?
I'm a little tired, but I'm ready to get angry at some celebrities, namely Brie Larson. I saw a little bit of a thing. We'll get into it. It's fine.
Well, I've got some stories for you. Plus, wait till we get to the Mary Sue stuff.
Oh, great.
And rounding out our triumvirate of awesome, as always, is Jack from Bad Comic Reviews. Link in the description. Jack, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right.
And as you can see, I'm doing okay. Thanks for asking. See, no one ever asks.
No one cares.
And before we went live, some random person named Ranting Monkey stumbled in, so I guess he's going to be here too.
I'm not happy with you.
Ranting Monkey?
I said random monkey. He stumbled in randomly.
Random Monkey. There we go.
First you make me wait for half a damn hour.
We all had to wait for Jack. It's fine. Well, it's not fine, but we've learned to live.
I'm not a patient man.
All jokes aside, we're very happy to have Ranting Monkey here. We're regularly guest Jack and I over on Monkey in the Morning, and this is the first time Monkey's been here, so yay!
I'm actually happy to be here. We've talked about this a long time ago, and I never could do it because of other, obligations.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm obligation free, so I'm happy to finally do this. My wife, she actually listened to the show this morning. She's like, "You invited yourself on." I'm like, "Yep." So what?
We wanted you on anyway, so
yeah.
Matter.
Lady Monkey was looking out for y'all. I just wanted you to know that.
That's nice for
you. Wouldn't you think she would be on my side?
No.
My wife?
No.
Just open one.
That's what 25 years of marriage will do. Why are you inviting yourself places? Because I want to. I'm bored.
I love that you just outright said it. It's like, yeah, by the way, well, I'm inviting myself on. And I'm like, oh, okay. Looks like he's going to be on, I guess.
Look, if nothing else, I'm honest.
Cool. There we go. What I wanted to start with this week is, of course, the thumbnail, which is right there.
I heard you change the thumbnail.
I did. And there's the new thumbnail this week. Sexy Star Trek animated lady.
Science officer, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, she is a science officer. In my head canon, she works in sickbay, and she's giving you that look because she wants to play doctor.
She's about to touch your no place.
That's right. So she's
about to give you a prostate exam. So
it's like, come on down.
Hot.
And I was trying to figure out a way to, being a big Trek fan, I wanted to shoehorn Star Trek in here before, and I don't know. I've managed to do it somewhat roughly before, but this week we have an actual Star Trek animated story. So what am I going to do? Not be topical? Of course I'm going to use the Sexy Star Trek Lady animated series.
It's apropos, and now it actually is apropos.
Yes. So
I don't know what apropos means.
Appropriate.
Okay.
That's fancy college boy talk for appropriate.
Yeah, you got to speak dumb to me because that's what I understand.
Okay.
So we'll be starting with this story right here. Rebellious teen Star Trek cartoon greenlit at Nickelodeon. Ooh. My God, we're covering today's story today.
Wait, rebellious teen.
Oh yeah, just you wait. Buckle in, buddy. This is gonna get stupid.
No.
Now this is from Newsarama, as you can tell, and man, they're height of garbage tier. And I had another article. I think it was Bounding into Comics that was on the same story, but whatever. I don't like using true garbage tier if I don't have to, but in this case, I'll just make an exception. Nickelodeon and CBS Television Studios announced the green light of a new animated Star Trek series to be developed by Emmy Award winners Kevin and Dan Hegelman of Troll Hunters and Ninjago. Do you guys know those series?
Nope.
Ninjago. Yes, I know Ninjago. It's a Lego animated thing.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of that.
Yep.
Yeah. So overseen by some Nickelodeon peeps and debuting exclusively on Nickelodeon, the series expands on the Star Trek universe for a new generation of fans. So it's going to be woke as fuck.
Woke as fuck.
The new original CG animated series follows a group of lawless teens who don't know.
Yeah.
Wait.
Okay.
Lawless teens?
Yeah, I've not
What
read
does that
this
even mean?
Oh, just wait.
I
It's
haven't
so
read this
Star
article.
Trek, it's sickening.
I haven't read this article before, so this is going to be painful.
I have.
It follows a group of lawless teens who discover a derelict Starfleet ship and use it to search for adventure, meaning, and salvation.
What? How do they find a derelict Federation starship?
Oh, they just leave that shit laying around, apparently.
What?
They don't, like, go looking for their ships that they just leave them around. They're like, nah, that looks good right there.
Imagine, if you will, a derelict Navy ship in the Pacific.
No, this one was just up on some blocks in someone's yard. And they were like, oh, yeah, you can have that. I found that a few weeks ago. They didn't want it. I called them, and they were like, nah, you can keep it.
It was up on some blocks in Space Detroit.
Yeah.
In Space Detroit. Well,
how did they know how to use it?
Because they're wily, resourceful, rambunctious teens. They just know these.
Because
yes.
They inherently know things. That's what Al Gore would say to that. You just inherently know things that the other generations don't.
All right.
So, further from the press release from Nickelodeon, Star Trek's mission is to inspire generations of dreamers to build a brighter future. Is it
dreamers?
Dreamers.
So they're illegal.
Well, and they are stealing a ship.
Says Alex Kurtzman. Yeah, I know you, buddy. Dan and Kevin have crafted a story that honors its exploratory spirit in a way that's never been done before. Well, the Nickelodeon team blew us away with their excitement at bringing Trek to a younger generation around the world. Star Trek Nickelodeon and the state of the art animation are doing incredibly ambitious things as of late. We couldn't be more excited to jump aboard, said the shill. Partnering with CBS. This is sounding really stupid. Partnering with CBS television studios and the creative masterminds behind the Star Trek franchise. The creative masterminds who brought you STD. Great.
I was going to say, wait, who brought you Star Trek? I'm like, well, did they dig up Gene Roddenberry?
He's dead.
Yeah.
They jailed him for a while. One of the L. Ron Hubbard machines.
But I mean, they could have brought on board the people that are, I mean, because Star Trek is, yeah, okay. Gene Roddenberry is the original creative mind behind it, but it's a shared universe of lots of people who had lots of input that developed the stories over the years.
Yeah, it did said like
make excuses for them, Polly.
I'm not making excuses. I'm saying that why aren't you using some of the incredibly talented writers that never get used? Instead, you bring on these idiots that are like, I know how to appeal to the millennials. We'll make the Klingons a reference to mega people. And they did. And it's, my God.
Yeah.
All right. The animators.
Every time somebody sees a Klingon wearing a hat, they attack him.
Yes.
And that's how the Klingon War started.
Well, actually, they're a bunch of they're morons. They're religious fanatics, and they get together in groups and yell and chant mindlessly, filled with emotion. And so that's their impression of MAGA. Well, in their mind, that's the representation of MAGA folks.
Oh.
In any case, the animated series is the newest addition to the expanding Star Trek television universe. It joins Star Trek Discovery, fuck you, and Star Trek Short Treks, waste of time. A series of shorts tied to blah, blah, promotion. Star Trek Lower Decks from Mike McMahon, Rick and Morty. An animated series targeted at mature audiences. Ooh. For mature audiences. Is it
like porn?
Yeah, like, is it mature like this is mature? That'd be cool.
That ain't mature.
I'm not allowed to watch anything mature.
Bunch of green chicks scissoring each other.
No, it is mature.
PG-13.
Are you telling me this isn't a come hither look?
Well, you know, if the scene afterwards is explicit, then yeah, sure, that's mature.
Hey, Campbell said, is the ship called the USS Truancy?
Yes.
I mean, this just goes on and on with more promotion because it's like Newsarama. My ass. This is just, you just reprinted the promotional material from CBS Paramount, and you know, whatever, that's fine. What's the name of the series, guys? That the Marvel Rising Heroes Rising.
Yeah,
what is
Marvel Rising.
Marvel Rising. You know, and it's Squirrel Girl, America Chavez, Kamala Khan, and who else?
I don't remember.
Well, I don't know. It's just that's what is coming to mind hearing this description. These young teens who take over a derelict ship and go out to find adventure. And it's like you watch the Marvel Rising thing, and it's exactly what it, even the theme song, "We're doing the best we can in the world to fight some crime." It's just, dude, haven't you? You got to go watch it, man.
It is real and it's awful.
We affirm our feelings and how we feel. It's just,
what the?
Welcome to the world of comic books.
Modern comic books, yes.
I mean, I'm exaggerating, but not by much.
No, he's not. Say all you got to do, Monkey. I want to give you some homework tonight. If you want to see the depths of which comic books will sink, there's a 12-issue series called America Chavez.
Oh God!
Don't make him start with that.
You don't need to watch all. You don't need to read all 12 issues. Just watch Polly's and Mai's comic book curation on issue number 3.
That you can find in our ever-expanding back catalog. Shill.
You're getting really good at that.
Thank you. What the hell did I want to cover? Something. So do we want to go fun or black pilled? What do you guys think?
Isn't that the same thing?
No, there's some stuff that I have this week that's actually just fun.
Do I need to pull up my my 4chan banner and say I'm almost enjoying my anger?
Oh, the reason for the name of this stream. How about that?
Yeah,
sure. Let's do that.
Okay, Mark Ruffalo, hulking moron.
Yes, he's a dumbass.
Mark Ruffalo's Easter greeting. Never forget Jesus was an illegal immigrant.
Christ. This fucking idiot. I'm sorry, guys. I may from time to time rant, but this guy's a fucking moron.
Oh yeah.
And the dumb thing. Okay, tell the story before I start telling why it's so fucking stupid.
Well,
sorry.
Here on Comic Book Curation, we dig the hell out of Mark Ruffalo and bust his balls every chance we get, because
I hate that man with passion.
Yeah, because other than his performance as Bruce Banner in Avengers alone, in my opinion, everything he's done has been, dude, you're dramatically overpaid for what you're doing.
Yeah.
You don't represent Bruce Banner very well, and off camera, you're a fucking douchebag. In my opinion. So I love busting this guy's balls, and so that's why I bring him up, because he plays the Hulk. Ugh, but he's a hulking moron. I don't do a lot of Breitbart stories here, but whatever. Left-wing Hollywood actor Mark Ruffalo got political on his Easter Sunday greeting, urging his fans to recall how Jesus was a, quote, illegal immigrant, a flawed talking point frequently deployed to harpoon the moral argument for stricter immigration policies. And it's like, yeah, I mean, happy Easter. Never forget Jesus was an illegal immigrant.
No,
Ruffalo tweeted. Yeah, I know. It's like, how? Like this guy is not a biblical scholar. And I mean, anyone who attended Sunday school or even vaguely through cultural osmosis understands the story, knows that this is wrong. Hey, what a douchebag. I'm
telling you, the good brother was the one that was murdered.
And what's also important to remember is that you get this, he goes to the Guardian opinions, which is just the heap of progressive liberal talking trash, and that's what this tweet, or that Easter message rather, is attached to. The politics of Easter is powerful. Let's not forget it. Oh, okay. And the person rants in that article, and he's like, happy Easter, but never forget Jesus was an illegal immigrant. Yeah, thanks, blue check mark. I mean,
the politics of Easter? What politics of Easter? Don't blow me up while I'm at church?
Ooh.
Too soon?
Well,
the only argument that you can make for Jesus being an illegal immigrant is the escape to Egypt when Jesus was an infant. That's about it. And I wonder if
they got work visas or not.
Well,
there wasn't really that big of border enforcement policies back then either. I mean,
you think
they were either part of the nation, or they were like a warring nation, or they just didn't give a shit. And they,
yeah. I mean, it's a ridiculous fucking claim, and it doesn't even pass muster. It's the kind of thing, like, we're not, is comic book related because it's fucking Mark Ruffalo forever using his Avengers platform as playing Bruce Banner to shoot his fucking mouth off as if he's got some kind of knowledge or intellectual authority or moral authority on an issue.
Oh, that's my favorite topic.
But Monkey, you wanted an opinion and possibly to rant.
Well, I'm just gonna say this. They bring this up at Christmas time too, because they mistakenly go. They mistakenly think that Mary was hiding out as an illegal alien in the manger, No, there was no room in the hotel, you fucking morons. It's in the story.
Right.
And this has been told over and over again and debunked over and over and over again. And this idiot actually came out and said it again. And
weren't they returning to Joseph's homeland to go to the census? To report for the census?
Yeah.
So the story goes in Luke, yeah.
The thing about it is that these people don't give a shit. I'm okay. True. I don't know their mental state. Okay, this is just me spitballing here. But the reason why they're saying and doing these things is so that they can have a leg up on people trying to say something against them.
Yes,
they don't care. They don't care.
No, I mean, you're right, but I don't think you realize how right you are. Like, I mean, it's like Mark Waid forever talking about LGBTQ, POC, LMNOP. Like, he's just using it as a shield. He doesn't actually give a fuck about these things. He doesn't care. They're just a means to point his fucking moralizing finger. Same with Mark Ruffalo. I'm a general progressive. You think he cares about the way that the Jesus of Nazareth story unfolds? No, it's a way to stick it to evangelicals because he figures that they're the boogeyman, you know?
Ryan makes a good point in chat. It's possible that he doesn't know the difference between people named Jesus and the people named Jose.
Jesus.
Or Jesus. Yeah. Because he's pretty dumb.
If you told me that he was talking about people named Jesus, I would believe you.
Yeah.
Because he is that dumb, but it still doesn't excuse it.
I like what Faithless says. Yeah, they were going back to their homeland to pay their taxes.
Pay taxes? Oh my gosh. Taxation is theft.
Remember the Havana Papers? I think that's what they were called. The group of papers that came out of the Havana and the Cayman Islands and so forth, where it's like all of these celebrities, especially shoveling their money into offshore accounts and offshore investments to protect it from being taxed.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That happened like 4 or 5 years ago. And it was like, yeah, every single, limousine liberal, every fucking champagne socialist, every, you know what I mean? Where it's like, a bunch of fucking commies that are constantly promoting this pinko bullshit. And it's like, you hide your fucking money so you don't have to pay taxes, but insist that everybody else should to support these social programs that you're convinced are going to create a utopia.
Taxes are for the plebs.
That's the thing is that, these sort of champagne socialists, as you call them, you rightly called them, they're the sort of people that are doing, they don't have any convictions. They have no moral convictions. They're parroting that talking point because it makes them sound compassionate. They don't give a shit. It's all faux indignation. They don't care.
Mr. Monopoly says it's the Panama Papers. Yeah, thank you.
It's some shithole country papers.
You got Hayden White saying Ruffalo's an anti-vaxxer. Is that true?
Would you be surprised?
No.
I'm gonna look that up.
Do so. That's awesome.
I like how both me and Monkey thought that at the same time. That was fun.
Well, this is like when I found out that Samuel L. Jackson was a Scientologist. I didn't want to believe it because I'm like, well, I was skeptical, to coin a phrase. And when I was like, well, tell me that he actually is, because then I can openly dismiss everything that this guy says because he's clearly a moron. I love your acting, Jackson, but Jesus Christ, man, you got some really weird opinions when you're talking off camera or off stage.
Join a couple of cults and people are all judgy.
I don't think he's an anti-vaxxer, but here's a quote tweet from Mark Ruffalo. Here, I'll even share it. Cool. Food for thought. The next time we reach for antibacterial anything, our immune systems need germs sometimes.
Excuse me. Well, that's true.
It's not wrong, but
make sure you put that in context before Jenny McCarthy hears it.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say the one thing that I did find though is that Mark Ruffalo's name came up when it came to Hollywood and the anti-biotechnology food movement.
Oh,
so no, he's not an anti-vaxxer, he's an anti-GMOer.
He's one of them dumbasses.
Which is just as bad in my opinion.
It's not good. It's definitely not good.
Well, see, that's the thing. Monkey,
leave my food alone.
Here's the thing, Monkey. It cost me a job. So anyone who's anti-GMO can go straight to hell, in my opinion. It was one of the contributing factors for me losing my job at General Mills was the
Oh, that
anti-GMO
sucks.
people. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of convenient that we have Monkey here this evening. Not only because he's awesome, but also because we need the views.
It's
I'm
always
kidding.
convenient when I'm around. Unless you're my wife and you don't want to see my dick. Guys, make sure you tweet this out. Go get more people here. Go get more people.
That's power shilling right there. But no, Monkey being a former manager at Walmart, and we have a Walmart story this week. Look at this.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's about butts. Something else that Monkey likes. Rich Johnston wrote this, so we got to take it with a grain of sand. This guy, Jesus Christ. I won't drag you through the full story, Monkey, but Rich Johnston is like,
he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Cool.
You know the kind of journalist that Gamergate was attempting to call out?
Oh yeah.
This is that guy for Comicsgate.
Oh, okay.
This is as best I can put it.
No, Rich Johnston is a scumbag.
He really is. He's the industry shill, progressive scumbag. In my opinion, Walmart DC Comics have censored Michael Turner's Artemis and Wonder Woman because butts. Thanks to Andrew Ela for spotting this one. You called it out correctly in the first sentence.
You didn't even do the research yourself. Great work there. Great journalism there, Rich Johnston.
That's so bad. The first sentence.
How do you censor Wonder Woman's ass? If you show her even from the side, you have to show it.
Well, we have pictures, so let's. But the recent Walmart DC Giant Size Superman number 9 and 10 reprinting classic stories has been Bowderlizing them. Blowderlizing.
Somebody got a word of the day calendar for Christmas. Good job, Rich.
Okay, they've been fucking with them a little for the Walmart audience. What was once acceptable for some reason is no longer kosher, especially when it comes to how the later Michael Turner drew women. I think you meant the late Michael Turner.
Yeah. Okay.
Bowderlize.
Okay. To remove material that is considered offensive or objectionable from a book, for example, expurgate.
Just call it censorship, you fucking retard.
Well, that's a new word that I can use for social justice.
If he had said expurgate, I would have been expurgate, right? It's kind of it's a little verbose, but I know what it means. Bowderlize? Okay.
Yeah.
Word of the day calendar for Christmas.
Someone really likes their thesaurus, is what they like.
I'm seriously offended by this. How the later Michael Turner, it's like the guy passed away. He was an incredible talent. You can't even bother to read your stuff aloud. I tell undergrads all the time, you read your stuff aloud. It feels awful. You feel awkward doing it, but you will spot your own mistakes clearly that way.
Yep.
Anyway, you have a much better chance.
Yeah, that's a better way to say it. You have a much better chance of catching. If you just read it, your mind will fill in the blanks and fix it for you, if you know what I mean. But reading it aloud, no, it's much reduced chance. But editing, and this is pure garbage here. This is bleeding cool after all. So
yeah.
Or rather, the clothes he drew on women or not. So in these reprinted issues of Superman, Batman by Jeff Loeb and Michael Turner, chosen especially by DC Comics for these Walmart comic books, we have Artemis sporting her rather specific asymmetrical look on Paradise Island, where she is hanging out with other Themimorkins. I never read this straight.
Themyscarans.
Themyscarans. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, one bit of her seems to be hanging out more than the others. Yeah, she got the half pants, high cut, one-piece swimsuit thing working. Okay.
I'm curious why Walmart is shaming women.
What shaming?
That has to chafe a little. Well, that would be like saying that a thong chafes. I guess you know all about that, though, Rich Johnston. Anyway, for the Walmart giant size reprints, that choice of costume has also been amended to something slightly more symmetrical. There you go.
No, it's not. It's not symmetrical. That's not what symmetrical means, Rich.
I also have to point out, like, as a professionally trained artist, there, Quiz, I'm just blowing it up a little. Doesn't this bother you? What an absolutely piss poor job the colorist did.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah, you can see the line. You can see the color line all the way down, and all they did was they went straight to the line for the strap of her knife. They didn't make it look like it was actually naturally supposed to be part of her costume at all. They just colored it in. They colored it the wrong fucking color.
Why didn't they put a full pant leg on her? Because it's not symmetrical, unlike Jackass's claim. Like it's still asymmetrical.
Well, not only that, Artemis doesn't even wear boots. So yeah, you could literally go all the way down to her foot. At least I don't think she wears boots.
And this continues through the issues as seen through these before and after shots. Before.
Oh, yeah, see? She doesn't even wear boots.
Hang on, I gotta lock it on you so I can just see what's going on here.
Okay, before.
There we go.
All right. She got the one-legged dealy working. And then after.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Wait a minute. It says after. It's the same after.
Yeah, that one's the same.
Did they just reprint the same page twice?
Probably. They probably fucked it up.
Look at this. They did. They just reprinted the same image. God, you're so garbaged here.
Wait, scroll up.
Look at this. Before.
Hang on. Yeah.
Full thigh.
One bare leg with the high cut side, right?
All the way up to the thigh.
And then after.
Same. Yeah, they fucked up.
No, Polly. We're lucky that they're not in burqas.
Okay, so here's the before. And there's the after. Oh God, you completely removed the lines of look at the lines of the butt, like her curvature. You can't tell if she's facing front or back now.
Yeah, no, that's even worse. That's terrible. Oh my God.
They literally got rid of her butt.
Dude, okay, there's someone that can image manip, right? That is looking at this and saying, I went to 4 years of art school for nothing.
They got rid of her puss.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they did. They cut out the line down.
There was a mound, and they got rid of it.
Yep.
Now it just looks awkward.
Dude, okay.
Wow.
I need to bookmark this and show it to my friend. He goes to he's on the Minions sometime, SCP. He went to the same art school I went to, specifically for visual effects and motion graphics instead of animation like I did. And he would look at this and he would openly weep. Because he could actually modify that to make it look like she's wearing pants and still maintain the integrity of the original art. Not this hack job that whatever moron decided to fucking, oh my God.
But isn't that the problem though, Quiz?
Watch.
I haven't been trained like you guys have, but I can fuck around in Photoshop. I could have done a better job than this.
Yeah.
With no training. Who the fuck did you hire?
Okay. I would like to point out two things. First of all, Quiz is purposely trying to make someone cry. And second of all, Frosted Glass called this in the chat like 30 seconds before you put that up, that they replaced that ass with Brie Larson.
I just love that they went through the trouble of getting rid of the puss.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It was a feminine vagina, and that makes it transphobic.
Wow.
Well, somebody, hold on, who was it that said it in chat? Sorry, I lost it. That Artemis in Greek mythology is quite scantily clad. One thing that occurred to me is for the costume design, Artemis is always has the bow arm bare, which is just part of the Greek style and so forth. Do you think that's why they gave her one bare leg? Because
probably
to maintain that, kind of going against the artist's intention there a little bit.
Well, if they really wanted to be historically accurate, all the Amazons would only have one boob.
Yeah, that's true. They would historically Amazons would cut off one breast because it gets in the way of their archery.
Really?
Drawing their bow back. Yes.
Damn, that's hardcore.
Yeah. Amazons were known as being warriors to rival Sparta for a reason.
Okay, let's go through the rest of these. But Artemis is not the only character to receive costume alterations in these Walmart giant size issues. How about Wonder Woman? That's a flat butt.
That's a Brie Larson ass right there.
Yeah, she's drawn quite slender there.
But the funny thing is, that's the original, guys.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like it's just the yeah. And then
all right, what they do to her?
They gave her.
Granny panties.
Well, I don't know. Those are very small differences.
They took
no,
out
that-
the ass cheeks.
Oh, they did. They took out the butt cheek lines.
Yeah,
Yep.
Wow.
that
And
is.
they gave her granny panties instead of.
Yeah,
Yep,
they made
they
them a little bit
spread it out
wider.
a
They're
little
not
bit.
as high cut. Yeah.
I'm not saying it looks bad, but if I was in Thailand and I ran into her, I'd want to check the equipment before taking her home.
Wow.
So the game is on, dear readers of Bleeding Cool. No, we're mockers of Bleeding Cool. It's different.
Yes. Yeah. Like I would venture a guess 90% of the people that traffic your website, Rich.
Yeah.
That is
How many
horrible.
how many such amends made for the benefit of Walmart readers are you able to unearth? The game is afoot or a butt.
I'm 12.
That's so bad.
I hate him. Also not funny.
Scroll up just a little tiny bit. I want to see the other butt again, the original.
There's the original.
And then scroll back down.
Okay.
Oh, they even got rid of her. Oh, yeah. The whole butt cheek line there.
You have to
Butt cheek
imagine
line, yeah.
if they did this, it was done rather quickly. That's the only way I can think to explain the poor coloring,
No. Even quickly, you can do that. No.
I don't know. I'm trying here, man. This is fucking Walmart. I mean, they're a global company. What the fuck? It's not like they don't have the budget.
Well, they're a global company that also have made questionable censoring decisions in the past as well. So
Yeah.
call this par for the course.
Yeah, some intern at DC was like, I have to do what?
Yeah, right?
All right, whatever. I'll just
Fuck
crack
this.
this out.
I wonder if it made it to publication first and then got brought back to DC and said, we need you to censor this, or if this was done as preemptive measures for Walmart.
I'd be
Yeah.
willing to bet they insisted on it.
Jimmy Healis thinks an assistant editor did this. I could see that. Like somewhere up the
Yeah.
chain. You know what I mean? I don't know. It was pawned off for somebody to do.
And see, that's the thing. This is coming on something that I think is actually kind of important and good for comics, is putting them in, like giant size stuff like this, like DC's been releasing.
Yeah.
I think this is good for comics in general, but you've got to leave the artistic integrity. Don't kowtow to Walmart. If Walmart doesn't want to fucking carry it, then there's 1,000,000,007 other fucking grocery stores all throughout the United States that will. People are not going to be shocked that Walmart is going to be censoring something. They're not. All right. Put it in a Kroger. Put it in a fucking, Jewel Osco. Put it in a fucking, it doesn't matter. All right. There's
Down at
plenty
the
of other
Piggly
places
Wiggly.
that'll take it. Yeah, Piggly Wigglies.
Two things. Ryan Walters points out Walmart wants, we cannot let kids know Wonder Woman poops. And I like Frosted Glass's idea. We call this larcening.
I like
Grand
that.
larcening.
Yeah. To debutt someone or draw them with a particularly slim butt is to larcen them. I like that.
Well, that's the thing though, is that since they put out a casting call for a butt double for Brie Larson, does that mean that larcening is actually adding a butt?
Yes. Well,
I think it could go either way. If you alter the ass in any way,
I think
it's
you're
larceny.
thinking about it too much.
You know what? I don't. Of course, I don't like seeing them change the comics. But I am happy that it's in Walmart. Like as Jim Healis points out, none of those places have the impact of Walmart, and they don't. Like Walmart's stocking comics and stuff like that, and with their purchasing power, they're able to buy old stuff. And thank God, it's old stuff. They're not putting out the newest Kamala Khan comic. Like it's great.
Well,
That's
they're
good.
mostly doing DC, so because DC's the only one doing the 100-page specials so far.
I'm totally happy that they're stocking comics. That's awesome. You have your boy Zach and a lot of other people have pointed out as well. As a kid, to go to the newsstand or the comic rack at your local 7-Eleven or convenience store, what have you, that was part of how you got into comics before you went to the proper comic book store. You know what I mean? And so older stuff that's more affordable, it doesn't have like some ghastly cover price on it for 21 pages. You know what I mean? Like, cool. That's good. So I just wish they hadn't
But
decided to be censorious about it. That's all.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, again, we've talked about this on the other show. For me, the art is a major part of the comic book.
Mm-hmm.
And if you fuck up the art, I'm gonna have trouble reading it. So I'm with you. It's great to get it out there, but leave it the fuck alone. That Wonder Woman ass at the end, and the one right before it, who was that?
Artemis.
Artemis. Thank you.
Mhm.
She looked fucking ridiculous. That looked like they let a kid finish the picture.
Yeah.
Just leave it alone. That there was nothing wrong with it in the original picture.
Well, on a kind of barely related story in terms of things coming out that actually have good art, but what the hell? Doomsday Clock is pushed back again.
Yeah, I'm not shocked. I'm really not. I love Doomsday Clock and all. Okay. I have to admit, even though it's always late, I've only read the first 3 issues.
Oh, really?
So-
You're only up to Jesus.
Yeah, no, I'm way behind. I think Doomsday Clock is for people like me. I really do think.
Yeah,
those of you who don't-
that's horrifying.
For those of you who don't know, Doomsday Clock is a DC limited series run that is introducing the characters from the Watchmen universe into the DC universe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They're having a crossover. But
yeah.
the series started in 2017 and was supposed to be done by 2018.
And it was
So-
huge, like the lead up to it, the promotion,
Oh, yeah.
everybody talking about it, everyone excited. The art is great. The story is interesting. I'm reading, but what the fuck is with the never ending delays? You got your top talent. This is the kind of situation where I would really like to know what the hell's going on. Like, how are you continually falling short of your deadlines on this seminal thing, and so obviously so?
Yeah, no, it's not even written by Robert Kirkman at all.
Right? Well, Jeff Johns apparently has the script done from what I was hearing. It sounds like it's either Gary Frank is really going slow on the art, or they're trying to build up to something at the end. And they're delaying the book so they can do that. Like, so it's leading into another event book.
And you got like Helis or Jim Helis saying, I dipped out of Doomsday Clock around issue 6. I hear a lot of people some people who said they dipped out because of the story. Like they just kind of stopped reading. It wasn't really holding them. It was a slow burn of a story, which it kind of is for the first few issues. But more than that, I've heard people say, I just lost interest because what the ever loving hell? Like it just, you have to go back and read the last issue because you simply can't remember what the hell happened 3-4 months ago.
BG, so you're saying Doomsday Clock is the polydub of comic events?
So what you think is happening is that the editors at DC are waiting forever for their artists to finish the work, like we wait for Jack?
That's exactly
Something
what
along those lines.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think I'd be willing to bet they're going to do some big event afterward. I've heard that speculation, and I kind of believe that because they are hinting at the Justice Society returning. And
see, that's the thing I've got to wonder though. It wasn't Doomsday Clock the whole reason for Doomsday Clock is because they were leading into it with things like the Button story. So I thought it was going to be something like Flashpoint.
Well, somebody suggested, and I don't know, like this is pure unadulterated speculation, but it's like that the story is completed by Johns, but is it? What happens if they're deciding differently on the direction they want to go because they want to incorporate it into the whole DC universe and they've made editorial decisions there? So they've altered the end of the story of Doomsday Clock. Because when you get issue 11 being pushed back 3 months, that's not a short time frame. That's long.
Well, they pushed issue 10 back a week, so it's not coming out till the end of May. And now 3 months until issue 11. That tells me there's something going on.
Right?
We don't know what, but it's obviously something.
Like the artists are quadruple booked and simply can't get it done because when you're doing art on this level, you're not doing G.I. Joe Sierra Madre style art that you can like crap out in an afternoon on MS Paint. It's Santa Muerte. What is it? What's the really awful G.I. Joe art? Sierra Morte. Okay. Why is he ripping an American flag?
Because he's a supervillain.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Black Adam.
Yeah, it's Black Adam. He's the that was it, ruler of Kahndaq.
Yeah, and it's a reference to what happens in issue 9, which we're not going to spoil for you. So you'll have to actually go read it.
No.
So I enjoyed the shit out of Doomsday Clock. What I've read of it. I keep on saying I need to go and pick up my Doomsday Clock and read it, but I don't know. I just get distracted with other things.
See, is it 3 months as a rewrite? That's what I'm saying. Like it feels like one. Like you got to, you get scripts out to artists and then they start writing it, and it's like maybe they did the layouts and they had to like redo it like that's a long fucking time. Yeah. You know what I mean? It makes me think that they might have changed the direction on an editorial decision.
Issue 2 was late. Issue 9 was late. Issue 9 was late by like a month. And so I think issue 6 was late too.
It's just, of course, the whole point, like why are we even bothering to talk about, because it's really odd. Doomsday Clock was supposed to be a huge, massive thing, and kind of is, but fuck, it was supposed to be finished last year. Finished! And they're still pushing it back in 2019, coming up on the summer.
It's 12 issues, right?
Yeah, it's a 12-issue thing. I'd be willing to bet that there was some massive change over some poor sales of one of the books, like because Bendis didn't work out quite as they hoped on Superman, and this Heroes in Crisis just stirred up some major shitstorm. If they're doing rewrites, I bet it's because of those other books.
So before we get into some of our more enraging stories, because we don't want to keep Quiz's blood pressure too high for too long, go over to this CBR article about keep it in the DC universe. Heroes in Crisis writer Tom King has received death threats over issue number 8.
Doubt.
Spoiler alert, there are going to be spoilers here.
Well, all I'm saying is, like, every single time I hear, especially people like CBR or Kotaku or IGN talk about how blah received death threats, I guarantee you it's like one person and it's just internet tough guy banter. That's as far as it goes. So I'm calling you out, CBR. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. If Tom King wants to come on to CBC here and say I've received multiple death threats for this, that's one thing. But I don't believe you, CBR. I don't.
Well, attempt to get Tom King on our show.
Yeah, cool.
I would ask him why he's writing his therapy journals as comic books.
And he's doing it precisely that. Monkey, and for those who don't know, Heroes in Crisis, that is the way the story is unfolding. It's heroes that are literally like in crisis, like personal, emotional, psychological PTSD, crisis.
They're sad because apparently superheroes are pussies.
So issue after issue, you'll get your 9-panel comic page, your classic 9-panel comic page, and it's the full page is just the hero or whoever they're talking about, Harley Quinn in some cases, sitting there talking to a therapist and a robot, right? Who's the therapist. And it just after panel of them in different expression poses of like, inquisitive, thinking, pensive, angry, while word bubbles are explaining why they're in therapy. See, I've got this problem, but it's not really a problem. But then I was wondering about this, and it reads like Tom King's therapeutic journal put to pages. And this is heralded as being brilliant and groundbreaking and deconstructing the superhero mythos.
It's dumb.
Why exactly are they in therapy?
Because they're suffering from PTSD as being heroes. It's stressful, etc.
Well, the beginning of it also, there was a terrorist bombing where several characters died. That's this story, right, Jack?
Yeah, but it wasn't a terrorist. This issue explains what actually happened that killed those people. But we see their therapy videos over the course of the series, as well as other people's, like Superman talking about how hard it is being awesome. And Batman sitting around whining about whatever.
So King shared a screenshot of a report sent to Twitter regarding a user threatening his life in response to the comic. And according to King, reporting death threats is starting to become a regular occurrence. We are almost ready to send your report about blank. Oh, I guess that would be the individual's name. I write comic books for DC. This person did not like my comics, so they threatened to kill me. Thank you. Okay. At Tom King. When I woke up this morning, I saw stuff about Ho. Then I read the issue, and it wasn't what I thought it would be. This whole issue cut deep and had me. I cannot emphasize enough. Here's a good guy. You're supposed to read this issue, not the clickbait. Okay, you think you'd post like one of the threads?
I will say this, Polly. This is so garbage tier. The whole thing about read this and not the clickbait.
Yeah.
That sentence is repeated at least 4 or 5 times in this article.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this whole article is clickbait because you read through it and it's like, did it actually happen? You know, show me the receipts kind of thing. And
No, they never show you. But they do tell you all about Heroes in Crisis issue 8, and they'll ruin it for you. But it's a terrible book. The sales have slumped, and it's dumb. And they reveal who the killer is and how he set it up. And the whole thing involves time travel.
Oh,
So
Lord.
instead of just going back in time 5 minutes and stopping the event from happening, he uses it to cover up the crime and frame other people.
oh my God, enough with this bullshit. Small comic company putting out political comics like that. I mean, look at this. Bernie Sanders is fucking He-Man.
I have the power. We need to open Castle Grayskull to every single person.
We need to redistribute the power.
Redistribute the power.
Fresh off the heels of all the advanced buzz for its one-shot reimagining, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's superhero Devil's Due is releasing a comic this July depicting presidential candidate Bernie Sanders as a warrior hero in the style of He-Man, titled Talk Bernie to Me. The Bernie Sanders special and AOC surprise. Talk Bernie to me.
Talk Bernie to me.
Oh, as in talk dirty
Why-
to me. Talk
Dirty
Bernie
to me, yeah.
Why does it
Yeah.
say $27 on his?
Because that's how much the comic costs.
Bonus AOC inside.
Oh,
So
God.
I don't know what. How is $27 related to Bernie Sanders specifically? Chat. Does
You
anyone
think
know?
they show his butt?
Rusted glass by the power of bread lines.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Do you like how he's on the lawn of the White House? That's great.
What?
What the
This
fuck
is
is that?
a variant cover, a couple of policemen arresting a black man. Art
Is
is
that
subject to
black man? Is that
change.
Bernie
I love that.
When he was young, because remember he was in all those protests, don't you know?
Oh, is that supposed to be young Bernie?
It might be.
It looked like I drew him like a POC here. It looks like it's supposed to be a close cut
It's
afro.
kind of like a
thing.
Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
Or a Puerto Rican, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, okay. So yeah, it's Bernie being arrested. Okay, sure, I can buy that. Holy shit.
Jesus fuck. I was saying that.
That's one thing.
I've been increasingly impressed with Sanders' ingenuity and ability to be on the right side of history. Fuck off. Even when it's not the popular thing to do. From his fights for civil rights and healthcare many decades ago to the introduction of the recent Stop Bezos Act and Stop Walmart Act. Devil's Due publisher Joshua Blaylock said in a written statement, "I'm excited to see him leading this new movement as a frontrunner for the Democratic Party."
Oh, the $27 apparently refers to the average campaign donation that he receives.
Ah,
On average, per person donating to Bernie Sanders' campaign, it's $27.
he's a filthy pinko commie. End of story.
A rich one, because he wrote
Yes.
a book. He wrote a book. Don't
Yeah.
forget.
Oof.
For those of you who don't know, he wrote a book.
I actually used to really like Bernie Sanders, but then, time is hindsight is 2020 sort of thing. There really was no good person to back
That's waffle.
last election cycle. There really wasn't.
It cucked out by endorsing Hillary.
Well, even the third party candidates were all awful. Jill Stein is an anti-vaxxer. And fucking what's his name? Rich Johnston? No, that's the fucking bleeding cool guy. Who's the libertarian candidate again?
Gary Johnson.
Gary Johnson. And say he didn't know where Aleppo was.
I don't
So,
blame him for that. A lot of people gave him shit for that. I mean, I didn't know where the fuck Aleppo was.
Well, when it's in the news,
You hear a name?
If you're running for president, though, you should probably brush up a little bit on foreign policy.
Just a little, a little swapping up.
Yeah, but how much has it been in the news since?
Not at all. I'm just saying, like when it's the headline of the day.
I hear you. I'm much more worried by other things he said than Aleppo. I mean, for being a libertarian, he was quite progressive.
Yeah,
that's what bothered me about the guy.
All of them were lunatics. This last election cycle, they were all lunatics.
Hey guys, look at this.
Uh-oh.
Miss Marvel. Kamala Khan is getting a new costume this July.
Is it going to be for issue 11 or for 12-issue series?
Like it's going to last that long.
Yeah.
The ongoing thing, for those who don't know, and Monkey is that, you got Sana Amanat, who's for all intents and purposes, the chief vice president at Marvel Comics. What's that?
I'm proud of you.
What?
You got it right this time.
Yeah, okay. Last time I was talking a little fast, and what did I call her? Anna Samanat?
Anna Samanat.
Yeah.
That still goes through my mind every single time I think of Sana Amanat. I'm like, I remember that time that Polly called her Anna Samanat.
Well, okay. Mustafa sums up the entire collective community's opinion on this. Who cares? Exactly. No one. Okay, so why does this character, Kamala Khan, keep popping up? Because she is the pet project and brainchild and favorite character of Sana Amanat. And she's in charge, so that's the end. She will never die. She will just keep coming up again and again and again. And it's despite dismal sales, they just keep reinvigorating her and bringing her back and over again. And you will like her. And
just
so
like
anyway,
Captain Marvel.
So there's the cover art for her new.
Holy shit, he's on fire!
Is she a Muslim?
Yes.
Do we know where she was on Easter?
No, we don't. But she is Pakistani, so.
Oh, you should you take a guess, Monkey. What are her powers? Do you know?
I'm guessing explosions.
Jesus, disavow. Does somebody, while I'm showing this, want to pull up an example of Kamala Khan's powers and action and all?
Oh, dude, get the one from that new issue.
Here's an example of what her new costume design looks like, kind of thing. And apparently a shoulder bag.
Yeah, because so it look more like a bike messenger.
Yeah. So she functions in the underneath the tutelage and auspices of Captain Marvel, none other than Carl Manvers. She runs around and does things, and she's a spunky teenager Muslim female who fights racism at every chance and prejudice, and also goes after white kids that are potential school shooters in one issue. Like it just goes on.
She also had a secret prison in New Jersey where she locked up one of her friends who became crippled because of it.
Yep, I was going to bring that up too. Yeah, she's an absolute sociopath. Yeah,
Captain Marvel didn't have any kind of problem with it in her orbital headquarters when Kamala Khan went to talk to her about it. She's like, I don't know how I feel about all of this. Listen, you have to be strong. It's okay to lock up children and hide them from their parents in a secret prison where you alone are judge and jury. It's fine,
so long as they're white.
That's cool.
So this is her superpower. Okay.
Oh God.
That is not foreshortened.
What does it say? Hang on.
That is not foreshortened.
I have it locked on Polly. Give me a sec.
Oh, okay.
I gotta lock it on you. There we go. What the fuck am I looking at?
That is not foreshortened.
Her fist is actually that size. That's her power.
She gets big hands?
Yeah.
She does what's called embiggening.
Which, yes, is from The Simpsons.
Yeah. She has the power of embiggening. And also her feet, guys. It can be her feet that get big too.
So Jesus fuck.
So in all fairness, not that it makes it much better, her fists not only get big, but they get denser. So the idea is that she can punch holes in things. Like,
well, they never
patriarchy,
explain that they get denser. It's just assumed.
Yeah. I would say the only thing that seems to get more dense is the writer's attention spans.
This is really stupid.
Yeah.
That's
And-
modern Marvel in a nutshell.
Because every girl you know wants giant fists
I've heard that.
so that they could smash the patriarchy.
They like
And it-
the big fisting.
I'm not trying to.
Here, check this out. See, here's cover of another.
Hold on, let me.
Oh, what the?
Yes, this is what Miss Marvel's main skill set is growing big old fist to smash the patriarchy with.
And her arms stretch out like that. It's kind of Mr. Fantastic-y. you know?
Yeah, she's got like bendy bones and stuff. I've got to wonder, what is it with these new social justice-esque characters that Marvel seems to come up with? What is it with them and just punching things? It's like they can't think beyond them just punching things.
Because that's totes how you stop the patriarchy.
Well, her and fucking America Chavez. They're two coins. They're two sides of the same goddamn coin.
Oh yeah. Well,
America Chavez, she creates portals in time and space by punching things.
Yeah. It's just a quick little side note. I just want to point something out here on the page and share. So, here's the cover. Okay, so we look at the art and the way that it looks. Okay, and I'm not saying it's bad. It's just not the best. But then you scroll down here, like, this is really good art.
yeah, that actually looks like a superhero costume. Unlike
And
I threw up at a thrift store and had to buy this outfit.
And the proportions are really well done because she looks like a short teenager. She looks like a not adult, if you know what I mean. Like it sells the idea that she's a teenager quite well. As opposed to this, I don't know, she could be anywhere in her 20s or teens. Like, this is great art. Why not draw her like this or hire this artist?
I've got to wonder. Well, that looks like a fashion makeup. Actually, that looks like a fashion design. I used to see that all the time on the second floor. But I've got to wonder: is her little spiked scarf there prehensile?
That's what I'm wondering. Are those like spikes, like metal at the end, or is it the same color as this fabric here? So it's just kind of like a fabric stole that's hanging off her back, sort of thing. I can't tell.
Well, the one up there where she's in fire, it looks reflective, like it's made of metal.
Yeah, it does. I mean, if she's got stabby things, okay, that's cool.
Well, in the new issue, the current series issue 2, the Magnificent Miss Marvel, she enrages like the Hulk and gets all poofy, and she looks just like a man. I was trying to find the picture, but I can't.
It's all poofy.
Yeah, she looks like she has swollen, like an allergic reaction swollen. It's horrible.
Mustafa, because punching things is an easier thing to write for hack writers.
Yeah, that's very true.
Fair enough.
There was a Max Landis video everyone should check out. I absolutely love the video. It's up on YouTube. I've mentioned it before. It's the Death and Return of Superman. There's a bit in it where he's talking about how the fight between Superman and Doomsday is just, hey, bro, let's punch each other's face and keep punching each other until one of us passes out.
Great. I think I'll take this moment to ask everybody, if you haven't already, please hit that like button. And remember, if you are listening in the future, by all means, comment below. I love reading them. I get a chance to read them all and a chance to respond to most of them. And Jack and Quiz stop by to comment on them as well. I'm going to remove Monkey's Wrench so he can't comment because, Jesus Christ, who knows what he's going to write. Yeah.
I am offended again.
She looks like a kid whose hair Biden would be proud to smell.
Yeah.
Glass.
I want to point out one quick thing here.
Creepy Uncle Joe.
This was just a fun story for no reason any other than because I wanted to. Here, look at this new Marvel Moon Knight statue. I wanted your thoughts on it, Quiz. So $80 for this guy, right?
Yeah.
And this is a pre-order, $20 pre-order down payment kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted your thoughts on this because I'm all down for a Moon Knight, but it doesn't look like it's very good. Like it looks like it's kind of rough. Do you think it's intentional or?
Well, considering that they're putting him in all these different kind of poses, I don't think it's really a statue. It looks more like people are going to crucify me for this, but a doll, because it has joints, it has articulation.
Called action figures.
Yeah, it's an action figure, motherfucker. What the hell?
All right, it's an action figure. But I don't know. It's yeah. I mean, I'll say this, at least for the actual designs, like the cape and the hood, it looks really cool.
I do think it looks cool. I don't know what these things are going for. Like I've seen some of the sideshow ones that are excellent, but they're also very pricey. You tell me, for the relative level of quality, is $80 too much? Is it too little?
How big is it?
That's a good question. Let's find out. I think it's got
probably 12 inches or higher.
It's probably 12 inches, yeah.
17 centimeters. I don't know what that relates or connects to.
Here.
Somebody do that in American for me.
Yeah, I mean, hand-painted authentic detailing, but he's just dipped white, as and I get it. Like Moon Knight's costume is largely white, but then there's tones between it.
It's 6.5 inches tall.
Oh, $80? No, hell no.
No, not for that. They used to make these. Yeah, they used to make these bigger ones that were 12 or 15 inches, something like that. That were really, really nice. I had a Shazam one for a while, and those were worth the $60 I paid for them. They were high end, especially because I'd sit on them for like 6 months and then sell them for 3 times the price.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he looks super cool once they put the lighting on him. That's. I do get it's like he has interchangeable hands and the throwing crescent gripping hands and so forth, like interchangeable hands and feet and heads and stuff. And Jim points out that Mezco, who makes this, is they do action figures. So compared to like an old school Kenner Star Wars action figure, this is pretty fucking awesome. I'm just wondering where $80 falls in that range.
Well, I found this one if you're looking for statues of Moon Knight in particular, Polly.
Cool. You get a Mark Spector with the mask off. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I found this one.
Yeah, that's way cooler.
Hold on, let me see.
And that one's an actual statue. I really kind of like the basing that they did.
That one is cool. Look at that.
Yep.
I mean, that's cool, but I mean, you get to like have it as an action figure, which means you can pose it and go like pew pew, bang bang, and do
Yeah, I don't need to spend $80 to do that.
I love anything that's semi cool and Moon Knight, because Moon Knight's awesome and doesn't get enough press, in my opinion. He's not just Marvel Batman. Stop saying that.
And the things that they have him do in the comics is sometimes not very good.
Well, yeah, but that's the writer's fault. It's not about the base character not being good.
Yeah.
Well, if somebody wants to get me one of those, my Streamlabs link is in the chat now.
I don't think I'd ever be able to bring myself to do that. Say that seriously. I want to buy this, so donate. I couldn't do it. It's like I would lie and say it's for ramen. That's at least it's food. It's
yeah.
Why'd you go to ramen, Polly?
No reason.
And say, speaking of the sideshow one, here's the sideshow Moon Knight.
Damn.
I like the other one better.
I
kind of do too. I like the really flowing Spawn-esque cape that's way too long for practical purposes, but looks cool.
Yeah. Yep. I say there's some other pictures of it. Oh, that's tiny. There you go.
Oh, that looks awesome from that side.
Yeah, they got the big flowing cape there on the side. That's what it looks like straight on. I'll say this for Sideshow, they definitely know how to get the proportions right. Because he
says as he's highlighting his junk.
I'm saying the legs are.
You were circling his crotch.
Circling the crotch. The arms are. Well, the cod piece is definitely well sculpted. I apologize for nothing, motherfucker.
Chris, don't help them. The cod piece is so well shaped and proportioned.
It smells good too.
Smells
know
like lilacs.
I don't know if cod pieces should have any smell whatsoever.
Well, how else are you going to get chicks to sniff down there?
You know, have you guys ever watched the College Humor Batman series?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but for some reason it popped in my head last night, so I watched it all. And the part where where he can't stop talking about sex, and I've been wearing this for 2 days. That's why it tasted so good.
I think my favorite bit is the BVS one though. It's like, my suit's cool because I made it.
Yes.
Nancy.
I like the one with the penguin and the commissioner where he's like,
Oh,
they're just sleeping.
Keeps killing people. Yes.
Yeah, Pete Holmes is hilarious.
Yeah, your parents are dead. Get over your dead parents. Aren't your parents dead? I was a boy doing a bat. Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys have never seen that, go watch it. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's really funny.
What is the state of College Humor now? What are they doing? Where are they at? I haven't
Hit
watched.
and miss.
Yeah.
Big
Oh,
time.
Yeah, Adam Ruins Everything is pretty terrible. He got his own TV show. I'm not sure, but I think it's canceled, rightly so. But it started on College Humor.
Oh,
But there's the whole
Rogan.
thing. It's I will never be able to get over. They are the origin of Adam Ruins Everything. Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, they're very big on social justice stuff these days, but
They
yeah,
can be.
and the guy from Adam Ruins Everything was on Joe Rogan the other day, and Joe was tearing him apart.
Yeah, that was pretty.
I haven't watched that yet. I'm gonna probably get around to it.
I watched it through Sinatra because Sinatra did a response to it. But he covers quite a bit of it, and it's fucking beautiful.
And Frank Sinatra did appear in a comic book once, so see, it all relates.
Yeah.
And Frank Sinatra, what did she sing while the Nazis were gassing her? Jesus, Polly.
That's where I was going. In any case,
Dark. Wow, man.
I do want to touch on this one story to kind of, it's big news of the week, Meyer versus Waid. So, Jack, I'm going to rely on your super TLDR skills. Tell us, Meyer versus Waid, what happened like to leading up to this week's events? What is Meyer versus Waid?
So, Jawbreakers Lost Soul was a comic put out by Richard Myers. He was doing it in Indiegogo, and he wanted to publish it through Antarctic, and they were going to publish subsequent comics. Mark Waid's like, I'm the sheriff of comics. So he got in and put a phone call into Antarctic Comics, and magically the contract vanished. So Mark Waid is getting sued by Richard Meyer for tortious interference with the contract, and the lawsuit is ongoing.
Nice.
Well done.
Yeah. So you've got Richard Meyer, who's a comic skater, described as one of the leaders of comic skate, accused of all of the things you would imagine. So racist, bigot, sexist, homophobe, transphobe. He's none of those things in my opinion, but whatever. And then you got Mark Waid, longstanding, decades-long, successful comic book writer, has written for every comic pretty much that you've ever heard of. And he thinks very lowly of Comicsgate in general and of Richard Meyer in particular, and attempted to get his comic book canceled. And now the case is continuing, and the big fight that's happening now is over jurisdiction. Is it going to happen in Texas or not? It was going to be published to Antarctic Press, which is in Texas. Richard C. Meyer lives in Texas. Mark Waid called Texas and supposedly, allegedly, put pressure on Antarctic Press to cancel the publication of this book, which they subsequently did. And so the whole thing is whether or not he interfered tortiously, like a tort, a civil loss of some kind, in that. And they're arguing the case isn't even being heard right now. The date hasn't been set for it. They're just arguing over whether or not it should be happening in Texas. Meyer's claim is, of course, it should be. The printing press is here. I'm here. You called here to interfere with this contract. Of course, it should be in Texas. Waid is arguing it should be happening in California.
Because that's where I live.
Because that's where he lives.
One of his original legal defenses was that the book does not take place in Texas.
Yeah.
What?
Monkey, he actually says
Yeah,
that the
seriously.
comic book Jawbreakers is not about Texas and does not take place in Texas. He actually says that in his initial fight. Well, his lawyers said that.
Jesus Christ.
By that logic, if you never want to get sued, all of your books have to take place on Jupiter.
That's right.
There you go.
Our story took place on the moon. You can't sue me on Earth. Like, really? Really?
I'm calling
And-
for the grand jury on the moon.
And another, big and important part of this is the slander, defamation aspect of the lawsuit. It's both things. Mark Waid saying things both explicitly and implicitly in Meyer's direction. Whether it legally constitutes slander, well, that's up to a Texas court or whatever court to decide whether or not that's the case. But he definitely has not said a lot of nice things about Richard Meyer, from his association with alt-right groups to his association with white nationalist groups to his association with the KKK. Jesus Christ. I mean, keeping in mind, of course, that all of his kids are multiracial, multi-ethnic. He's been married twice and has children with his two former wives, and neither of them are white, unlike pasty-ass Pillsbury doughboy Mark Waid, who stands up for POCs all day long. Like, fucking hell. Really? That guy's the racist? And I mean, it doesn't prove he's not a racist, but Jesus Christ, man. It's... I don't know.
Association with the KKK?
What's that?
You said to his association with the KKK. Well, is that?
No, Mark Waid is saying that he has a relationship with the KKK.
Yeah.
It's that's why he's calling it defamation.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
And he got asked, he got asked during the deposition, do you have any proof or evidence that the plaintiff, Richard Meyer, has any association with white nationalist groups of any kind? You should read Wade's response. He meanders in and around and says it's a very general thing that people on my side tend to think that it. So in other words, no. The answer is no, you don't.
That's being very generous. He waffles for about a good 5 minutes before getting to that.
It's an
ridiculous
awful
point.
He said something to the effect of, it's a very broad definition.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's...
It's a spectrum nowadays.
Yeah, being a Nazi is a spectrum.
Like autism.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if most Nazis were autistic, but that's okay.
He's got a touch of the supremacy.
Now, after, and another aspect of it is that Waid claimed initially that he did not know that Antarctic Press was located in Texas. He just called the number, and it's like, you couldn't tell by the area code?
I was going to say, yeah, the area code's a dead giveaway.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, he also claimed to have been friends with the owners of Antarctic. So you don't know where your friends live?
Exactly. Now, he did appear less than a week later at a comic book convention in Texas and was asked, it was at Comic Palooza that was held from the 25th to the 27th in Houston, Texas. And an audience member asked him, quote, I just want to get your quick opinion about small comic book creators like this guy we hear about on Twitter, Diversity in Comics, which is the channel name for Richard C. Meyer. Big time comic creators like yourself, Marvel, seems obsessed with breaking into the scene. I'm trying to figure out, what's your opinion obsession? Mark Waid responds, it's tough to answer because you don't want to give oxygen too much to toxic people. But what he's basically talking about there is there are, just as there are pop, what?
I know you're like, okay, it sounds like he's retarded. Polly's reading it verbatim, guys.
Well, yeah, and here I'll prove prove I'm reading it verbatim. There's the document I'm reading it off of. Okay?
Polly's not having a stroke.
No,
okay.
no, and remember, people, Mark Waid is a writer.
Yeah, he is. Mark Waid, that's tough to answer because you don't want to give too much oxygen to toxic people. But what he's basically talking about there are in pop, I mean, right in the world right now, not just in comic books, but in the world, you got heavily, male heavy movements of guys who are trying to move things back towards white supremacy or back towards a world in which women knew their place. That kind of nonsense. And they're Proud Boys or they're, this group or they're that group. And
Oh my
comics has, you know, a group or two like that too. Comic fans have a group like that or two too. And it's a shame trying to say without inflaming anything. Recently, one of these groups kickstarted a comic, and great, awesome. They're going to do their own graphic novel because they're super conservative, hyper conservative guys. And the rap was that comics was not interested in creating conservative creators.
Okay, guys, again, we need to reiterate, Polly is not retarded.
Oh, right.
Right.
Okay. Let's just jump ahead as he's meandering through this. Okay. These guys created they did the comic. Great. Awesome. And they started doing things like making a list of the store. There was a bunch of stores that they decided they weren't going to carry the comic. So these guys made a list of those stores and their phone numbers and names, first and last, all of their employees. It's highlighted because that's factually untrue and provably untrue. So there's your slander. You see what I mean? And with that idea that, oh no, don't call them and harass them. We're not telling you to do that, but here's their phone numbers and their first and last name of all of their employees. Well, come on. Ouch. Now, remember, he said, I did not know that Antarctic Press was located in Texas, was his initial claim. This is him talking live and being recorded, and here it is. So there was a publisher here in Texas who was going to publish their comic after it had been kickstarted. They were going to publish it for comic stores. And there was a huge amount of hatred towards that publisher at this moment. There was most people
from
comics.
Who in particular, Mark?
Yeah. Most fans of comics were looking at this. How? What are you doing? These guys they are indefensible human beings. They harass women. They harass minorities. They harass LGBTQ people. They're full of hate. What are you doing? And this is what you called to tell them. And my personal feeling is that, look, let the baby have his bottle. I don't care who publishes the comic. I don't care whether you publish a comic or not. I don't care. But I knew the publisher, and I don't think he was aware why all of a sudden there was this gigantic groundswell of hate towards him. So I said, before we burn this place to the ground, let me call him and just find out what's going on, whether he understands what really being, if he wants to publish it, that's great. I don't care. But I know I want to make sure he knows why the hordes of hell are descending upon him right now. That seems reasonable, right? Yeah, it also seems like tortious interference.
It sounds like you admitting to tortious interference.
It really does. It sounds like you know exactly what happened and why it happened.
It does.
Lost on.
So in any case, the part where so we want to do this in a semi-fair way, like it's not like it's all this way. So what we're going to do is just really quick, because we're going to wrap this up in just a couple of minutes. But what I was reading from was Richard C. Meyer's lawyer's filing of why it belongs in Texas. And the reason why they're citing those things is because this guy came to a Texas comic book convention. He knew that the publisher was located in Texas. Like, he's making an argument on jurisdiction, right?
Sure.
In response, now this is a 14-page filing. In response, Mark Waid's attorneys file a 115-page filing that is full of stuff that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. They even cite a Bleeding Cool article and include the ads at the bottom of the page.
Nice.
Yeah. And Rich Johnston, being the guy that he is, puts out this article yesterday. Antarctic publisher states under oath that Mark Waid didn't prevent them from publishing Jawbreakers. Is that true or not? Well, let's in the filing, he does hold on, where's my scroll button? So last week, Bleeding Cool ran a story based on filed papers from Richard Meyer against Mark Waid in his ongoing court case that we've already described to the audience here, related to Antarctic Press's decision not to publish the crowdfunded graphic novel Jawbreakers. And it's dismissed because of jurisdiction. However, it appears that the response filed by Meyer at the time focused narrowly on some aspects of the evidence. It only focused on that which was related to jurisdiction. That's why it was narrow, Rich Johnston. And you goddamn well knew that. But you make it sound like it was extremely selective on purpose to,
I'll say that's the point that's being argued is jurisdiction.
Right. Except for Mark Waid's 115-page filing, or his lawyer's filing rather, contains all sorts of stuff where it's like, Mark Waid didn't do nothing wrong. Like, they're beginning to argue the case. And it's like, wait a minute. If you think you're right and you want to argue the case, Set a court date. Why are you arguing jurisdiction?
I think these logical arguments have no place in a court of Twitter.
Well,
Indeed. Thank you, Jack.
they also don't have any place in the court of law sometimes too. But
Law, what is that? No, that's full of colonialism.
Now,
This
this thing is great. Mark Waid has now issued the following statement, which we will reproduce below. The entire statement unedited, not a section of it, but reprints the whole thing. Jesus, Rich Johnston. Like, could you be a bigger shill for this guy? Could you be more obviously on one guy's side? You're the furthest thing from a fucking journalist.
well, there is one thing that Rich Johnston could have been doing. He could have been putting out Mark Waid's crowdfunding for the lawsuit onto Bleeding Cool.
That's true. But I do, like, I mean, he goes, you recall the main plaintiff's claim, and he's now calling it a publicity-seeking lawsuit against me because I committed what's known as tortious interference by phoning his potential publisher and allegedly trying to coerce and intimidate him. Now, Jack and Quiz certainly remember a number of weeks back on Comic Book Curation where we talked about Mark Waid's interview on the Nerdist. Remember that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
What did he claim the entire lawsuit was about? Slander.
Yeah, well, things change, and now that the facts are coming out, he has to adapt to these new facts, and somehow this is obviously the Russians' fault.
Let's see. You remember what I said there about being a shill, by the way?
Uh-huh.
Oh no. Oh no. Click here to support Mark Waid's legal defense fund
It's right in the article.
from Bleeding Cool.
Jesus Christ, they did shill his legal defense fund.
Oh no.
That's a different level, isn't it?
The poor guy is being sued for, breaking civil law.
Yeah.
Right?
Now, here's the rub, so to speak. The publisher who I had allegedly threatened, and he is a writer, and when he's not talking aloud and sounding like he's in the middle of a stroke, he writes quite well. And he makes this PR case as to how this is a publicity-seeking lawsuit. I never did anything of the kind. And his evidence is based upon this cut from the hours and hours and hours of depositions given. And it's between Dunn and his attorney going back and forth. Dunn is one of the co-owners of Antarctic Press, right? And the thing is, did you make the decision for Antarctic Press? Correct? Correct. And was your decision, and that was your decision, correct? 100%. And you made that decision voluntarily? Correct. And Mark Waid, did he do anything to prevent Antarctic Press from publishing Mr. Meyer's book? No. Right? Seems cut and dry, no?
Yes.
Yeah. And he does go on with that about, a pound away that anybody who tells you anything different, goes on to let that sink in as the plaintiff well knew, but chose not to reveal the actual deposition makes it clear that of what I have been saying since day one. Well, actually, you didn't say that from day one. You said this was a racist, bigot, sexist, homophobe who was coming after me, and how can somebody who is this low of a person possibly slander me? From day one, you pretended that it wasn't about your tortious interference. Okay. But, I guess that's neither here nor there. Let me show you what selectively picking up those kinds of things will selectively picking what you want from a deposition can be powerful. Like, how is it even possible to refute something like that? Well, think about the question that his own attorney asked, Mark Waid's attorney. Did he do anything to prevent you from publishing it? Prevent.
Yeah.
Not convince you to stop, put pressure on you to think otherwise. Let's see what you were saying at the time, which is all evidence before the court. This is a conversation between one of the co-owners of Antarctic Press and Mark Waid. Okay. Thanks for talking to me this afternoon. I have decided to drop the project. Statement on Facebook coming soon. You are a very good man. Text or DM me when that statement goes up, and I'll recirculate it if you like. It's posted. Good man. Thank you for staying in touch. Do you want me to repost it to create, or will that create more headaches for you? I'm not sure how to approach it. I'm prepared for the lashing and so forth. I appreciate your support. And I want to go down to where stuff starts getting weird, because he says, how are you holding up? Why in the world is Meyer claiming that you called him in tears? I hope you're well. Because Meyer's talked to the owner of Antarctic Press, and according to Meyer, he was crying and saying, I had no choice. I was getting called by SJWs all over, and they were screaming at me, and the threatening to burn the place to the ground was seemingly not a random statement, but an actual line that people were saying words to that effect to him, etc. And I'm not commenting anymore. I don't blame you. You haven't turned on me, I hope. I said that tongue in cheek, but the lack of reply has me nervous. When can we talk? I do apologize, but essentially I'm trying to put this behind me. And as not to say I do anything that can be misinterpreted. And it's like, okay, well, I understand that. And I know, and I want you to know that I'm here to help. You're not getting any blame anymore. The story is that you called in tears to confess that I bullied you. I think that's 100% fiction. You said at the time that I didn't feel I was bullying or harassing you in the least. Correct? No response. Ben? No response. Left you a voicemail, not asking for anything but confirmation that you and I are good with one another still. Or if not, what can I do? I'm sorry, but this is not Ben. I'm his brother and the publisher in Antarctic Press. Again, I'm sorry, but I've avoided being online and the calls for the past to avoid all of this. So as long as you let me know we're good, because I'm concerned. If you can just do that, I'll leave you alone. It's like, Jesus, what have I done to offend you?
Help me.
Yeah. He said,
Help
yeah,
me.
I do not want to be misconstrued. I do not want to have to use disclaimer words. He goes, you said I didn't bully you. You still feel that way. It weighs on me. Why are you so focused on this? Ben,
Becky, it's over.
Right?
Where did he say it?
Yeah,
he phone conversation.
That's what I mean. He's saying, you told me you didn't bully me, correct? And it's like, so in a conversation, and he wants him to type it out. Why are you so insistent that he type it out when the guy's not responding to you for over 5 days?
That sounds like rape.
Okay. And Ben, that is all I will ever ask of you, and it stays between us. Do you now think that I bullied you? Jesus.
Don't tell anybody.
It stays between us. Just you and me, my lawyers, and my deposition.
Yeah.
Don't tell your mom.
After all of the threats he already claimed he was getting, and the holy hellfire that was coming down on him, I made my decisions based on a variety of many, many, many factors to protect me, but mostly to protect my family and employees. I ultimately made that decision. It was 100% my decision. I will accept the total consequences for that decision. Yeah, the question is not whether or not the decision was ultimately his in a tortious interference case. It's, did you attempt to interfere with the legal contract between two people when you were a third party and had no business involved in the relationship? Those are the elements of tortious interference. And it's like, you go, no, the consequences is now on me, not you. I wish I'd been honest. I wish you'd been honest with me on Friday. This is, all of it was an effort to help you, or at least, will you at least give me that? Because everything you were saying to me indicates that you weren't straight with me when you confirmed you didn't feel like you didn't feel bullied by me, and that we're all good. Are you changing your story to say that I bullied you, or were you straight with me on Friday? Notice how he keeps repeating, you already told me this on Friday, and he just wants them to just say, yes, I know what I said to you on Friday. There, that's at least confirmation without typing out the word bullying. See the pattern? I mean, are you changing your story to say I bullied you, or were you straight with me on Friday? That's all I need to know. Then I'll leave you alone. I'll lose your number. You will never hear from me again. Just tell me I didn't intentionally bully you or hurt you, because if I did, I need to know. Mark, Waid, if you are so convinced that you didn't put pressure on this guy, why were you so desperate for him to admit it in a way that you could have a document of it, a paper trail of it?
All that Mark Waid needs to learn is he needs to go to his local college and take the rape course.
Yeah, no shit.
Hey, Mark, no means no, dude.
Just tell him you fell down the stairs.
Yeah, he's not that into you, Mark. He's not.
No.
Ouch. He's not that into you.
You know what he should have done was just like, shh, let it happen.
Yes, exactly. Just let it happen.
And so this is more or less the end of the story of where it's at now, because believe it or not, they're just arguing over jurisdiction here. And it's like, Again, Waid, if you are so convinced of the correctness of your case, why haven't you set a court date? Just argue it out and get it over with. And the argument now is, and Nick Rekieta made this argument, I have no legal expertise, and Richard Meyer is the one who's involved in the court case himself, so he's aware of all of the stuff, not just these little tidbits that have been released. They are both of the opinion these are just delaying tactics to attempt to get Meyer to burn through his money, because Waid's pockets are a fuck of a lot deeper than Meyer's are. It's like, you damn well know that this case is ultimately going to end up in a Texas court, that there's no reasonable argument that it should be in a California court. So say Meyer and Rekieta. And I'm taking their word on it because I have no expertise here, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean,
go ahead,
anything can happen, but
right.
If you're looking at it logically, I mean, this is how court cases go. Whoever files it is usually in where they're at, unless that like there's a business entity. Like if I were to sue, say, Facebook, chances are that would end up in a California court because that's where they're located.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's located in Texas except for Mr. Rapey there. Yeah, of course it's going to go to Texas, dumbass.
But the comic wasn't about Texas.
Ollie, just let it happen.
Speaking of rapey things, to show you kind of what just to round this off, they're willfully lying to you in order to paint themselves as victims. They are willfully lying to you in order to keep you contributing to their crowdfunding efforts. They are willfully lying to you in order to claim some sort of moral high ground that they believe makes it honorable to spew hateful, disgusting abuse that mocks and condemns women, people of color, LGBTQ plus people, and others.
Oh my God, do I need to get out my bell?
Yeah, this is Mark Waid's, again, from his statement here.
I think I just won SGW bingo.
Yeah, I've been talking about for a while, Monkey. I was thinking about getting a bell, so every single time we hear, LGBT, bing, POC, bing.
You should.
Every single buzzword just.
And notice we had to jump back and forth, and I didn't do a particularly PowerPoint style presentation to keep it all nice and concise. I was just jumping back and forth between the documents that I have open and the PDF of that legal filing and stuff. But it's just remember that. Remind others of that. If they lie to you, present the facts. If they try and gaslight you, hammer them with the facts. Throw the publisher's statement in their face. Keep doing it, because there's no better way to show the world that they willfully lie to you and others for their own gain. And it's the thing is the statement from Dunn saying, did he do anything to prevent Antarctic Press from publishing this book? No, is his answer. Prevent, like he broke into their warehouse and set their printing presses on fire? Something like, I mean, I realize that's a bit extreme of an example, but I'm making the point. He answered honestly. And it was prevent you? No. Show you that there's a whole bunch of people that are going to hate on you endlessly and, quote, burn your place to the ground, as you said publicly when you were being recorded, Mark Waid, a week after the event. Like, I mean, they were speaking figuratively, burn it to the ground, meaning like there's going to be so much crap coming down on you. It's going to feel like shit. Do you really want that? No, that's what you're being sued over, Waid. That influence to try and stop it. Did he do anything to prevent it? No, he didn't have the ability to. What he did was threaten and try and influence you mobster style. Like, it's a great printing press you got here. It'd be a shame if somebody blew it up. Like, Yeah.
Well, and you're overlooking two important things. One, they were harassing this guy at his grown-up job, which he's a doctor. They were calling his medical office and harassing the staff there. All his hordes of hell. And secondly, the guy said in one of his depositions that no, Mark Waid did not have the ultimate say in it. And Waid, over the phone, because he's on speakerphone, yelled, "Yes!"
Nice.
Which you are not allowed to do at a deposition.
No.
That's a big no-no.
You're not allowed to do that in court, I don't think.
No, absolutely not.
Mark Waid has a reputation from a lot of people that know him, and perhaps it's just a mischaracterization, I don't know, but of being a highly emotional man who's prone to outbursts. When I heard that aspect, I was like, Jesus.
This is the dude that sent somebody a black wreath when their comic company went out of business, and the attached note was, "What would your dead wife think of you now?"
Jesus fuck.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Mark Waid's a scumbag.
Now, obviously, us here are a little bit biased towards the Comicsgate side of things and Richard Myers because
I'm not.
Well, okay, you're not.
This guy sounds like a fucking douche. But anyway, go ahead, Polly. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say, look, I'm throwing into chat the link to that Bleeding Cool article, and it is very much biased on Waid's side. So if you want to hear the other side of the story with the complete statement that Mark Waid made, including excerpts from his own court filing, the 115-page one, all of the sources are right there. So you can read up on your own and see, like, okay, I think Polly went a little off the beam with this one. I really think that Waid is legitimately concerned about losing the case, but I don't think it's on a money basis. I think it's on an emotional reputation basis because in my opinion, I don't really think he's got much reason to worry about the money particularly. Whereas Richard Meyer, Zach, his argument that he makes, and it's a pretty valid one, is I'm doing this as much because of the loss of money and the fact that he did interfere with a contract and that my publisher did drop me after we had an agreement because of this guy's action. So legitimately it's a civil action, but also for the defamation. Because if you search my name and I go for a loan, a home loan, a bank loan, whatever, or apply for another IT job, that's his daytime trade is IT. It's, people search my name. What comes up? Well, chat, if you're curious, perform the experiment yourself right now. Go to Google and type in Richard C. Meyer and see what comes up. It'll be alt-right, white nationalist, leader of an online hate group. The list goes on. His name is Mud. Mm-hmm. And according to him, he wants to take this slander case so he can say in the future, hey, well, yeah, and somebody who said that about me had no basis for it, and I won a slander case against him or whatever. At least I took him to court over it. And here's the part of the deposition where he admits that he has no basis for saying this. It's just his opinion.
Yeah, Ricky Law did a reading of all the depositions. I threw the link in chat. It's really interesting.
Yeah, this guy just sounds like a major douchebag.
Mm-hmm. Just to clarify too, we're also talking about Richard C. Meyer, the diversity in comics, also known as Comics Matter with your boy Zach on YouTube. Not Richard C. Meyer, born April 5th, 1930, died July 19th, 1985.
No, not that guy, because he'd be a zombie.
The German-American television and film editor who won a BAFTA award.
Now, I actually met Mark Waid many years ago. And he was really nice at the time, but it was before all this SJW stuff went crazy. It was like in the peak of his Captain America run back in like 93, 94, somewhere around there.
It's not that the guy hasn't written great comics. He has. It's wild going back through some of the stuff. And really, like, I wasn't kidding when I said decades and decades, right? Like, he's been around forever and he's written on all the major titles. Yeah. It's just wild.
All this stuff.
Yeah. And it's
what kicked it all off.
The modern SJW push and the stuff that's going on Twitter and a reaction to Comicsgate where a whole bunch of people became anti-Comicsgate. It's
Trump's election.
Trump. Yes. Oh God. Yes. Yeah. Wow. Trump derangement syndrome is originally a joke, but sadly turns out to be highly predictive.
There's a guy named Kurt Busiek. He's a comic book writer. Used to be really, really good, and he would blast his own son on Twitter because his son voted for Trump.
Jesus! Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So,
I do want to. Oh, hey, I'm curious what you guys think of this a little. I mean, that's kind of the story and it'll continue on. And unfortunately, your boy, Zach, Richard C. Meyer, says, I'm probably going to need to run another crowdfunding for legal fees because this thing's going well into 2020, according to my lawyers. And it's because they're dragging it out so long. They don't want to set a date until they absolutely have to. What if your case is so open and close and that statement of no is, that's the decide moment right there. This decides the case. If that's true, then you have irrefutable evidence. That's how he describes it. You cannot ignore this, Waid says in his personal statement. Then set the date and beat the shit out of them and go cheer on Twitter about it.
Just make sure you don't do it in the courtroom because that's that can be seen as contempt, Mark.
So in any case, moving on to other stories here, I am trying desperately to avoid spoilers around Endgame because I'm going to go see it this weekend. And
Well, you just invited the audience to ruin it for you.
yeah, if anyone's seen it, shh, don't be that guy.
I'll tell you this much: Snape kills Dumbledore.
Mm.
Motherfucker.
Is it because Bruce Willis is a ghost?
Yes.
What about you guys and chat? Are y'all going to go see it? Like opening weekend or first week or at all?
I hope to see it this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
It's one of the few things I asked for my birthday, and yeah, I really hope to go see it this weekend.
Cool. And you don't get out to the theater much, right? You're not a theater going guy?
Hurt like a motherfucker, but
right.
Endgame or Infinity War was so good, man.
It really was.
Listen,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
do you have reclining theaters up near you?
No. If you saw my theater in a city, you would think, "Ooh, that's the ghetto theater. Don't go there."
No. Okay.
Yeah, it's not great, but it's good enough. I'll be okay. 2.5 hours?
It's 3 hours.
You know what?
It's almost 3.
I'll suffer. I've suffered for less than that, man. So yeah, I'm gonna go see it. Hopefully this weekend. If not, then definitely next weekend.
Yeah, I was talking to because I like going late shows on Sunday because I'm talking the theater drunkenly. I'm bringing booze. And it has to be less people in the theater, but he's like, I don't know if we're even gonna get in this weekend at all. And I'm like, yeah, because I haven't bought my ticket yet. I'm not one of those people that buys 3 months in advance, Avengers Endgame will not have a post-credit or mid-credit scene. Thoughts on that? Do you care?
No post-credit? That's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
You would. You know why I don't care about that? Because the credits are going to take 20 minutes to end.
Yeah.
And I want the piece so bad by the end of that.
You're right there too.
A 3-hour
I don't want
movie.
to. No. Sorry, Jack. Go ahead.
3-hour movie with the post credits. Come on, dude. I would piss myself. It'd be awful.
I like Delahayes. Well, there's that one really awesome scene in Endgame where the one person does one thing to the other guy with another person in another place, and then boom.
Thanks.
But I mean, everybody, our audience is so awesome. They're like, Ryan Walters is like, spoiler, Jesus comes back 3 days later. Circus Zero is like, there's a beginning, middle, and end. Spoiler. It's and then Jordan,
they were going to spoil it.
And Jordan 250's Ant-Man climbs up Thanos' butt and expands.
No, man, they're going to switch it up. He's going to go through the pee hole.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be a dick move.
I see literally there.
Don't go through the pee hole.
Jack, literally.
I don't want to scroll down any further in case anybody's like, one source who has already seen Avengers Endgame indicates the film will not have a post. What do you mean will not? If they already saw it, shouldn't it be does not? Did they see it or not?
That's a good point. Yeah.
It's just bad writing, Polly. Let it happen.
Okay. Which were popularized by Marvel Studios, blah, blah, blah. What? Our source tells us that there really is no need for a mid-credit or post-credit scene because it's the end of the story. Wow.
I'm gonna say the mid-credit and post-credit scene from Shazam was fucking great.
Yeah.
I don't...
such a good movie.
I'm wondering if this isn't like some early spillage so that people aren't expecting the end credit scene, like the surprise shawarma eating scene from Avengers that was filmed at like last minute and stuck in there and they didn't tell nobody.
Yeah.
I could see it, I'm kind of hoping so.
Frosted Glass. Jason Momoa uses the gauntlet to fist Laura Harrier for 45 minutes.
That is awful. That is awful.
I have to share something here real quick that Jim Healis shared. The Endgame underwear.
Endgame adult diaper.
Yes. That is fantastic.
Avenge the toilet.
It even has the little the look of their space armor. So yeah, wetness indicator, everything.
Mm-hmm.
A
Okay, I just
wetness
wanted-
indicator. That's good. Moving over to I know, to stick on topic. So everyone's talking about the scenes with or rather the press junket promos where you got Don Cheadle and Brie Larson and Chris Hemsworth and Brie Larson are kind of going back and forth and having their little jivey bants and so forth, and who's stronger. And then and everyone makes a big moment of Chris Hemsworth saying, because she claims that she does her own stunts, which she doesn't. Well, I just did my stunts because I thought that's what you do. But you didn't do any of them. Like, I mean,
yeah.
It's like, so you're gonna, and Chris Hemsworth, not being an asshole, just kind of plays along with it and says, "Oh, so you're gonna be like the next Tom Cruise, who is famous for doing a lot of his stunts, dangerous parts of his stunts, so they can film his face up close doing the actual thing." She goes, "So you're gonna be the next Tom Cruise?" "No, I'm gonna be the first me."
I'll be the first me.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can't not talk like that. You can't not have that bad attitude, can you? Even in the middle of dance, you can't resist the urge to be like that.
Neither one of you guys got the proper intonation there. You didn't fill yourself with your righteous indignation there. I'm going to be the first me. Thank you very much.
Well, I'd like to speak with your manager.
Right?
The clip that I found the most entertaining, though, is Jeremy Renner sitting next to Brie Larson, and they're on their press junket thing, and you got the guy right here who's there currently interviewing them at that moment, and it's what I like to refer to as a full body eye roll on the part of Jeremy Renner while Brie Larson is talking. It's great. Let's see, just play the video, and she kind of like looks up and talks. Now watch Renner while she's talking. It's like.
Oh, I'm nervous.
And then the question goes over to Renner, right? So what is it that they're talking about here? He asks about the interviewer, Rohit Kilnani, about the responsibility of being a celebrity and an actor in Marvel Studio films. Larson answers by saying this: "I am committed to self-improvement, and I work at being the best person I can be and using this platform for as much good as I can. It doesn't mean I don't make mistakes, but I'm very comfortable with that and allowing myself to learn from those mistakes."
No, you don't. You don't. You patently fucking don't.
And that reaction that you just saw him doing, that's what he was reacting to, her saying that. And I don't blame him. So his statement, he's probably tired of being on the press junket. And in my opinion, probably tired of listening to her clap herself on the back. Here's his response: "I'm pretty accountable and responsible in my own life at any rate. Celebrity isn't something that I use as any sort of platform to be more responsible or accountable, I suppose. It's certainly an absolute blessing to see the joy on kids' faces. I don't think there's a feeling that comes close to that."
Man.
Well done, sir.
Thank you. Okay, there's a straightforward, honest answer. Well done.
I like Jeremy Renner. I also like Chris Hemsworth. Both of those guys. They're the sort of celebrity that celebrity should be.
Yeah, because they seem like normal people. They're just doing a job.
Yeah.
I think it's important to talk about like why, what could possibly be so bad? Well, the kind of activism, and she says this movie is my form of activism. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
When she made statements like, "The movie was the biggest and best opportunity I could have ever asked for. It was like my superpower. This could be my form of activism, doing a film that can play all over the world and in more places than I can be physically." And it's like,
Movies work, you stupid bitch.
Like, I realize we're beating up on Brie Larson pretty bad here, but
Look,
do you gotta be that way all the time,
No,
Brie?
fuck her. Fuck her. I don't care if we beat up on her. Fuck her.
she's kind of a twat.
Yeah, a little bit.
And then, lest we forget, because we need to hit the big quiz. Quiz wants a bell, and we would break his bell with this one.
Oh god.
And when she said, quote, "I think it's because it's 2019,
Ding.
current year," she actually went full current year.
Yeah.
I think it's because it's 2019, and what 2019 is about really is intersectional feminism.
Ding.
Oh, you broke monkey.
I actually asked to be on this show.
I know, right?
What the fuck is wrong with me?
Oh man, that was
It probably
great.
wouldn't have been as painful if you hadn't just come from Lords of the Night.
Oh God. Oh.
Look, I mean, she doesn't even. It's like this sounds like a bunch of intersectional feminism that she's talking. No, she just says it is. She went full current year in intersectional feminism in the opening sentence of her statement with Entertainment Weekly. I mean, you're a gem, Brie. You're a gem.
You're a Marvel character. What the fuck does? Oh God. All right.
So let's run through some funny stories here real quick before we move on to pitches. But in the meantime, did you know that Nintendo has banned the trans flag?
Yes.
Did you actually know that already?
Calling
Yeah,
it a political statement.
This story is actually beautiful.
Nice. Good on Nintendo.
Well, this is from the Mary Sue. Because
Of course it is.
good times. Is this going to get my channel banned? This dick drawing that people have done here?
No, you're that's fine.
Okay.
No, you may get banned for the Mary Sue banner, though. I mean, we might need to talk to the Honey Badgers about that one. I'm not sure.
So it wasn't just the phalluses in Super Smash Brothers that games moderators had to watch out for. Some attention-starved nitwits created swastikas, 9/11 themed images, and creations ranging from poor taste to totally vile.
Well, duh.
It's the internet. What did you think was going to?
What did you expect? Buy a helmet.
And it's like, so Nintendo has, in their infinite wisdom, decided that this stage featuring the trans flag violates their terms of service, and it for political statements. And it's like,
It absolutely does. But
and Vivian Kane goes into a protracted argument, like, and when I say protracted, I mean, come on, guys, look at this. Look at this.
How many fucking?
Oh, the article's actually quite short. Okay, that's fine.
Oh,
Good.
yeah,
These
yeah,
are all
yeah.
just comments. Okay, whew. Thank God. I thought I was gonna have to breeze through like whole paragraphs at a time. First of all, as Warm Syphilis points out in another tweet, the words political or politics do not appear in Nintendo's code of conduct. They forbid, quote, engaging or promoting discriminatory, defamatory, hateful, obscene, physically dangerous, or otherwise illegal, fraudulent, or objectionable conduct in connection with their service. Political content is not listed as a potential reason for removal or suspension.
Oh my God, Frosted Glass! Please tell me that that's a quote in this.
The only thing we should be smashing is the patriarchy. Thank you very much.
Please tell me that that's a quote from this.
Let's find out. But beyond that, it's incredibly disappointing that Nintendo joins the ranks of so many others who see transgender rights and even the public existence of trans people as inherently political. Aren't you the one who politicizes
You're
transgender
the one that's making
people?
it political.
that's a hate fact.
Saying transgender people deserve civil rights is not a political statement. Well, actually, inherently it is a political statement because you're asking for a given policy.
What I want to know is what civil rights do they need that they don't already have?
The right to exist. Jeez.
But that's actually, you know what, Quiz?
You've been paying attention.
That's actually a really good question, Quiz. You think they would just like, you know, A, B, C, D, and E, like these things?
Yeah.
Like, that's actually a really good question. Yeah. What additional rights, expansion of rights specifically named that aren't named rights? Like, I'd like to actually know that. Then we'd have something to discuss other than your feelings, impressions, and intuitions about the matter.
Yeah.
You know? But beyond that, it's incredibly disappointing. Oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. Banning trans symbols is a political statement, though, as it does nothing but normalize bigotry. If you don't put up the trans flag, use a bigot.
Duh.
Some users are pointing out... What's that?
That's just science.
Yes. Some users are pointing out Nintendo's history of LGBT inclusion as proof that there really isn't an issue, but that history is spotty at best, says Vivian Kane.
Of course she does. Because Vivian Kane's a twat. Oh, sorry.
No,
In
you're
your
right.
opinion.
No, I'm right.
No, I think he is right.
I've just been watching too much Nick Rekieta. It's like pepper everything with, in my opinion, keep reminding people of it. And it's like, I'm allowed to have those still so far for the time being.
For now, you're going back to the camp.
But 2016's Fire Emblem Fates also included a conversion therapy plot line. Did it? I don't know.
What?
I'm not clicking on that to find out like their own article on the issue.
Yeah, because it is linking back to itself. I guarantee you. But
Well, yeah. Let's just see.
I'm curious now. I'm gonna look that up.
No, it's actually links to pinknews.uk.
Oh, a
Probably
reliable
just
news
as good.
source.
Yeah.
Nintendo removed gay conversions spiked drink plot from the new game. What?
Alrighty then. Good job, Nintendo.
I guess. And in 2014, players of Tamagotchi Life were able to enter their characters into heterosexual relationships, but not gay ones.
Oh my god.
Phobic.
Well, no, you know what? Tomodachi Life? No, I that's absolutely fucking false. Because you want to know exactly how many Bane, I'm a big guy for you movies there are of Tomodachi Life? There's a billion of them.
No, look.
But that's why it says the company eventually surrendered to the backlash and changed that design flaw. That's not what a design flaw means. Like the game fucking up, like crashing on you is a design flaw, but not before defending the decision by saying they were trying to avoid making, quote, social commentary, a phrase they used twice in one very brief statement.
Uh-oh.
Yes. In both that instance and the Smash Brothers controversy, I think it's only a controversy in your mind, Nintendo makes it clear that they see the inclusion of LGBTQ plus characters as political or social commentary, and they see their exclusion as apolitical or neutral. Okay. That sort of view refuses to acknowledge trans people as people with the same right to exist in public spaces as cis people have. At the very best, it sends the message that trans people are welcome to give Nintendo their money so long as they don't insist on being visible. But you can be a trans person without holding up the trans pride flag. I don't have a cis pride flag. But then again, I'm a straight cis white het male and I own everything. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're a fucking demon that needs to be purged.
Well, I'm represented everywhere, so I can't really complain, right?
No.
For those saying that this is just Nintendo's policy, as if it's the work of faceless algorithms and there's nothing that can be done, it's important to remember that there are actual people behind these policies with differing opinions and the ability to be influenced. Even the representative Warm Syphilis describes speaking with...
I'm sorry, say the name again.
Warm Syphilis.
Warm Syphilis.
I don't think that's how you actually pronounce it, but I'm not trying, you know.
All right.
Yeah, no, Warm Syphilis. It sounds...
Yeah, Warm Saflina is what it, if I were to try and say it slowly, I guess. Way to deconstruct the joke, monkey. Even the representative Worm Safina describes speaking with didn't agree with her suspicion. Speaking with didn't agree with her suspension.
Speaking with didn't agree.
That's what it says.
Yes, I know.
Okay, I just had to read it 2-3 times because I'm like, I must have fucked that up.
Who wrote this?
Vivian Kane.
Vivian, you are retarded. D, see me after class.
Oh shit!
You better make sure that door's open and you got like 5 witnesses.
Yeah.
Because you know that you're going to be our harasser.
In 2014, Nintendo thought they were avoiding social commentary by excluding same-sex relationships from a game. Their audience loudly told them how offensive that was, and the company listened. Whether they actually agreed or not, or were just protecting their reputation and their bottom line, a change was made. This is in defense of Twitter brigading, by the way. This is what's happening here. Hopefully, they'll hear this message just as clearly, that trans rights are human rights, and that to lump them in with hate speech and inappropriate imagery as a removable offense is completely unacceptable. So you're trying to get people to, you're inciting brigading here.
Yes.
Which I mean, and that's using the word incitement. It's usually connected with inciting violence. And no, I don't think that's what you're doing at all.
Inciting or encouraging people to be on the right side of history.
Yeah, Polly.
I'm reading about that gay conversion thing.
Uh-huh.
The long and short of it is that there's a character who's heavily implied as being gay, right? And she's saying that she can't be a badass warrior with all these cute girls around. So you feed her a magic potion, and she starts seeing all the dudes as chicks. And so you start romancing her, and then the potion wears off, and then she starts seeing him as a dude. But then she's all like, well, I already fell in love with you when you were a chick, so I can fall in love with you as a dude.
Well, isn't that the theory?
How's that converting someone away from?
Because she realizes she takes the potion, the magic anti-gay potion.
The potion is code for semen.
Yeah.
I assume.
Wouldn't you say that it would be reasonable to call that a complete mischaracterization?
Well, yeah. That's.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously not what they were They weren't intending to be like, oh, we're gonna cure gay people. Shut up.
You know what? I agree with Jack's description of it. Like, oh, well, it's coded, and yeah, that's how the Mary Sue writers are reading that. This is coding for conversion therapy.
Well,
Yeah, that's absolutely how they're reading it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like dog whistles. It's not what you said, but I know what you
Dude,
meant.
there are a lot of dog whistles floating around out there, more than actual dogs.
I didn't realize how many dog whistles there were.
I know, right? It's crazy.
Jake seems to be sleeping just fine. I don't know what you guys are talking about with all these dog whistles.
There's a ton of dog whistles out there. Be careful, man. They will get you when you're sleeping.
Yeah, you should get Jake's hearing checked because he is not listening to all these dog whistles.
Well, you know what? He's not woke. Right now he is sleeping. So, you know.
Oof. Gotta
Over here, the Guardian review of Bret Easton Ellis's White is scathingly delicious. Princess Weeks.
Oh, God!
I'm not going to read it. Don't worry. I can just give you the short version, the TLDR of this. Bret Easton Ellis is an author that I happen to really like, so I'm totally biased here. And she liked, as long as he was writing American Psycho and Lesson Zero, which he says myself included, meaning, you know, people who love those works. But he wrote a new book that's called, quote, White is the title of the book. And it's his first nonfiction book. And he's got a lot of criticism for people that are freaking out over Trump in one part of the book. But that's enough to set these people off. And he calls them overreacting. He goes on with the snowflakes thing. He talks about identity politics. You know, he's basically, quote, red-pilled, if you will, on this stuff because he's sick of it. No, Bret Easton Ellis is offense of all offenses. He's a gay man, and he doesn't agree with far leftists. The traitor, you know.
Fucking monster.
This article, amongst many others, are just trying to, I mean, God, it was in the Guardian, and then they're doing an article about the Guardian's article saying how awesome it was that they ripped this guy a new one. And also one in the New Yorker and the New York Times, and I've never seen this guy get pressed like this.
As a gay man, he might need a new one.
Yeah. He's definitely getting a lot more use out of it. Yeah.
I'm about a third of the way through White right now, and it's as good, funny, sardonic, well-written, and insightful as anything else that he's done. It's full of gallows humor, like anything else that he's done. Now you don't like that you're the target, as opposed to, like, you know, here you see the picture from American Psycho, right? And it's a send-up. It's an ironic take upon the ultra debonair 1980s cocaine-doing psychotic white boy from a privileged background. And it's sardonic humor in and around that notion. And you're fine with that. That's hilarious. But as soon as you're the target.
That's how it works, Polly.
So,
making fun of me. That ain't funny.
Just as an aside, though, Polly, how is Bret Easton Ellis's writing compared to someone like Chuck Palahniuk?
Ooh.
Because I know you and I have talked a lot about Chuck Palahniuk, and I like Chuck Palahniuk. So.
Oh, okay. You know what? I thought you were talking like rank order or just like run a comparison.
Yeah, comparison.
Okay, a comparison. Yeah, she herself, Princess Weeks, mentions Chuck Palahniuk. She's like, with much like the works of Chuck, they did have a satirical quality I think was often missed by self-proclaimed diehard fans who latched onto the depictions of masculinity without noting the irony. No, princess, because that's literally your name here, they all caught the irony. That's why they thought it was hilarious. You think that you and other intelligent people like you are the only ones that caught on that the whole thing was supposed to be humorous? No, they did. It's
like what Frosted Glass said in chat. We're gonna chide this gay man until we convert him to our side. Wait.
They're not using electricity though, so at least they've got that.
But yeah, if you love Chuck's work, there's every reason you should love Bret Easton Ellis's work.
I'll have to check them out.
There's few authors that like I don't get a chance to read a lot of fiction because of grad studies and shit. But I've literally read everything that Bret Easton Ellis has written, even his like collected stories stuff. And I'm like a third of the way through this newest book, and yeah, it's as good as anything else he's written. I mean, of course, I have my favorites, but there's every reason if you dig Chuck, you should dig his work. Yeah. Okay, it's got that same kind of dark humor and overly detailed stuff that ends up being funny because of the level of detail.
Yeah, getting into the minutia of your IKEA furniture. Yeah,
right. But and in Ellis's case, the minutia of our favorite moment from the film American Psycho and my favorite moment from the book, the business card scene.
Oh yeah.
It's like it still kills me. Oh fuck! He nearly has like palpitations and a heart attack because the guy's got a nicer business card than him. Anyway, we're off topic, but I was just because I'm such a fan of Ellis, and I can't believe the way he's being raked over the coals for a minor amount of criticism at a group of like-minded press people. That's it. That's all that's going on.
Well, that's just proof to the fact that the legacy media just latches onto a concept and they all have to agree. It's like they are their own echo chamber, and it's ridiculous. Like they have the AP puts out an article and everyone just keeps on aping AP's article, and then we have like when it gets all the way down the line to any of the major mainstream news sources, it's all just opinion pieces about AP's article. That's all it is.
Look at this one up here. Trevor Noah calls out the male privilege dominating the 2020 Democratic campaigns. Of course.
My God.
I'm waiting for this. Don't you guys poo-poo this.
What?
I've been waiting for this. I want to see it. I want to see all these white males explain why they should be president.
all these white males explain why they're white. They need to
rich white males, by the by.
Oh, yeah.
So
they ain't just old and white. They got money.
Just to make sure that Quiz's heart doesn't stay healthy for very long, we're going to cover this Last Mary Sue article here. A talking raccoon is taken more seriously than women by male MCU fans.
Okay, here's the thing. I said this on Twitter when this got posted between us. Okay. Show me in any of those movies where any of the 3 female characters now. I mean, we're gonna put Scarlet Witch in there, even though the only movie that I've seen with Scarlet Witch in it was a really, really bad Age of Ultron. So of the 3 characters, including Captain Marvel, which was just watching a toilet paper roll dance around on the screen, apparently, allegedly. I've not seen the movie. I'm just saying, allegedly. And the completely uninteresting and milquetoast Black Widow. How any of those characters could match the gravitas of when Rocket takes off his thing in the prison, and you see all of like the experimentation scars and like the bionic grafts that make him able to speak and carry weapons and walk upright and all that. I cannot think of a single time when any female character in any of the MCU movies has had even remotely the same sort of gravitas as that scene.
Oh, so a raccoon gets more technology than a woman?
That's right.
Oh my God.
It's called a vibrator. Look, we talked about this article on Lords of the Night tonight. Because if you read it, like the women fans are not being catered to. And then she talks about, stupidness. The Guardians of the Galaxy, that was a huge risk for Marvel.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you are a Marvel fan, you know that, you dumb bitch. It wasn't. They're like, they won't take a chance with these. They're taking chances all over the fucking place.
I was gonna say, come on, Monkey. She's not a Marvel fan. None of these people are.
I'm a Marvel fan. I watched Iron Man. Fuck off. You're a dumbass. That's you're a dumbass. Fuck off.
Like it, and just reading through it, I mean, there isn't really a need to read through it. Like you're not really saying anything, it's all based upon, like, quite literally one comment from a podcast? I can't remember. Imagine my shock as I listened on a radio show, unnamed, while a man praised Marvel for pushing boundaries and being innovative by having a star like Rocket Raccoon in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. Well, it's being used to mock the lack of faith that DC had in a female-led film. The comment also that one comment, right? That's what the whole article's about. Was that comment about Rocket Raccoon harmless? Yes, but it showed that many fans, particularly men, the filthy penis havers, don't care about the lack of female representation.
Oh man,
Gamora was on the team, and they added Mantis.
My favorite. Sorry, maybe I'm being oversensitive, but again, female. Wait, you scrolled.
Sorry, I scrolled back.
Being oversensitive. But then again, female comic nerds have a right to be. We're constantly questioned about our knowledge. Even Gail Simone.
Really? Gail Simone is one of the worst comic creators out there right now.
Jonah, I need to step away for just a second. I'll be right back.
Okay.
God forbid Gail Simone be your guiding beacon there, Mary Sue.
Well,
I think you should probably choose a better author from which to put on your pillory.
No, I've explained this before. These people are not real. They're her cats writing articles. So of course they love Gail because she feeds them.
And see, that's the thing. I don't think Gail Simone is necessarily that bad of an author, but I think she's turned into one.
Yeah, she can be good when she's got editorial oversight.
Yeah.
Otherwise she's just lazy.
Well, I actually pitched a Gail Simone written book on Comic Book Curation.
Oh yeah.
But good God, is she ever not the person to say should or should not be the arbiter of all comics?
Well, let me tell you something. Just it's easy to point your finger at somebody else and say, you fucked up. It's so much harder and more interesting, in my opinion, to look at yourself and say, what the fuck am I doing wrong? You know what I mean? Like, in that vein, if anything at all, and try and be honest about it, because it ain't easy. There is, like, she talks about, like, Gail Simone, right? You brought up, is Gail Simone a bad writer? She tries towards certain angles that don't work and isn't willing to listen to a lack of fan acceptance. We're not even talking criticism at this point. We're just like a lack of acceptance of that idea. Okay, that idea didn't work so well. It didn't hit the ground.
You need to read Domino because it blows holes in all that theory, because it is fucking horrifically bad.
I'm just pointing out that, this is Gail Simone, someone who has no problem with writing into it like DeConnick does, all sorts of her personal ideology and her personal feelings about what's going on in the real world. And somebody could very quickly respond, what? I'm supposed to censor myself as a writer? I'll tell you something. For fun, I tried my hand at plotting out a few different comics and stuff like that, and then writing and rewriting and trying different things and then whatever. So I feel strongly about Second Amendment and the Fourth Amendment, right? Yeah, and ham-fisting it into a story is bullshit.
Yeah,
getting like a character like imagine if I was writing Captain America instead of Ta-Nehisi Coates, and I decided to write in there Captain America saying, "Well, I might not choose to use a gun fighting crime. It is the inalienable right of every American to keep and bear arms." It would be so obvious what I'm doing.
Well, if it's written well, I don't have that big of a problem with it. But the problem is that it's not written well. It's written like trash, and it's lazy.
Well, see, it would be one thing to quote the Constitution in a comic like that. It'd be another if, like, say, the Punisher gets arrested, and, like, before breaking out of the police custody or whatever, something like that, they're sitting there saying, like, well, why do you have all these guns? And then he quotes the Second Amendment. That would be clever.
If you could make it fit in, but let me tell you something. I would be going up to people like you guys and just saying, okay, let me bounce this off you. Is there some way we can smooth out the rough edges of including this? You understand what I'm saying? Or is it like inherently flawed? As soon as it's something of personal interest to me, I would be really concerned that it would be, am I just turning whatever character into a mouthpiece for me?
Well, see, and that's just it. You're putting more thought into the characterization and the writing than she has been for the last 15 years.
Yeah.
It's like even Gail Simone, and it's like, what do you? She's not infallible.
She is. Lord Meowington said so.
And I've been reading Extreme X-Men. If I've ever learned about the fallibility of writers, Chris Claremont wrote that, for Christ's sake. It's not very good. I'm just saying.
I was gonna say, even with that being a miss for Chris Claremont, there's still plenty of hits.
Well, yeah, that's the beauty of having a large back catalog of brilliance, isn't it? Like,
dude, it's probably still better than anything on the newsstand from Marvel today.
True.
You're not wrong, actually.
I know.
It's as kind of hit and miss as it is. Like, there's some interesting aspects to it, but by and large, no, it's misbegotten and not very good.
I'll say the major thing that that has going for it is the fact that Rogue still has Miss Marvel's superpowers.
It does have that going for it, and it is a very Rogue centric comic. Like, she's like, it's all about the Rogue, man.
Mm-hmm.
So while we sit here and wait for Monkey to return, assuming that he ever does return.
Oh no.
When is the next Lord Meowington article?
Ryan Walters, imagine if they made the Punisher a sovereign citizen. He's running down Kingpin's fucking goons and just going like, I'm traveling!
That's not that hard to see in current year Marvel. The Punisher, by whatever writer, being recast as a Ruby Ridge survivalist nutbag.
Well, that's how they view pretty much all gun rights activists. So,
I'm back.
Hey,
awesome.
Welcome back.
Okay, so here we are. We run pretty long, and I think it's time to move on to our comic book pitches. Who would like to go first? Monkey, you can, as our guest here, you can either have the choice to pass it along to one of us, or you can go first. It's up to you.
I can go first.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. And I happen to have a digital edition of your comic ready, so I can show it whilst you speak of it.
First, I want to thank you guys, because I haven't gone through my comic box in forever. And I was late setting up on my Lords of the Night stream, because I was just going through them and having so much fun going, oh my God, I forgot I had this. I forgot I had this one. Yeah, so I wouldn't have done that without you guys, so thanks. The comic book I want to pitch is The Amazing Spider-Man number 333.
Ooh.
This is probably my all-time favorite Spider-Man I've read, even though they're better stories. This one, though, 332 actually is a lead into this one, but you don't have to read it to understand what's going on in here. They do a very good job of explaining what you missed if you missed 332.
Mm-hmm.
But there's several storylines that come together. Mary Jane is in a little bit of danger for a moment. It seems like Aunt May is in a little bit of danger, and you get to see that awesome morality that we talk about with Venom in this issue.
Mm-hmm.
This is before Venom became nothing but a big mouth with a giant tongue hanging out of it, which is a big thing for me too.
Yeah.
The art in this one I love. It's fucking gorgeous. But the end is what does it for me. It has such a surprise twist ending in it that I even as I read it again today, I was like, oh wow. So this one, to me, this is a, if you like Spider-Man, you have to read this comic. I don't know how much to tell about it. How much should I tell about the story?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, if it has a big turnaround spoiler ending, you don't want to spoil that. But is Peter put to a test between Mary Jane and her expectations of what he should and shouldn't be doing? Or
they have a little bit of a fight about, where their marriage is, because they're a young couple at this point still. And she got kidnapped, guys. And she ends up in a lawsuit that she settles, which Peter's like, what? Why? And read the comic book to find out. But one of the greatest part of this is Venom and Spider-Man actually schedule a fight. Yeah, it's great. They schedule a fight because in the previous issue they were having a fight in the park, which got interrupted by characters named Sticks and Stone,
who are right there, seen right there as they're hanging out.
Yep, and they interrupted the fight, and Venom's like, we're gonna finish this. So he actually invites Spider-Man to a fight. So they have another scheduled fight, and Sticks and Stone, well, those assholes show up again, and then the end happens, and I can't tell you what happens there. It's it was asked in the chat. It's issue 333 of Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah. Now I've read this back in the day, but I don't remember it specifically. I don't remember them scheduling a fight. I don't know what the twist is, but I'm going to find out because you've piqued my interest. So that I would call a successful pitch.
Like I said, this is, of all of the Spider-Man stories I've read, this is the one that always sticks with me.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. And it is that ending where it's just like, what the fuck just happened? But yeah, it's a really good story.
So yeah, there it is again, guys. It's Amazing Spider-Man 333, and there's the cover. Pretty easy number to remember, all things considered. Oh God, look at that cover price, huh? Yowza.
$1.
Yeah.
I miss those days.
Yeah,
60 pence in the UK or $1.25 Canadian. Wow.
Shit, dude, I have a copy of Spider-Man 28. Look at how much that fucker costs. I wish the people I bought it from hadn't written on the cover, you shit bags.
Oh no.
And we've whined before about it, and we'll whine again about it. Even when you account for inflation, the $4 cover price, the going rate on comic books, it doesn't equal out. It's just more expensive, period.
Yep.
You know it. And yeah, okay, it's not newsprint paper, but I don't know. I disagree with Ethan Van Sciver on this. He's like, I didn't like newsprint ever. I want glossy pages. I'm like, yeah, I want glossy pages, but not at that price.
Yeah. Well, he's an artist in the industry. Of course, he wants glossy pages.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't want the dot matrix, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
What? I'm sorry, Monkey?
I don't like the glossy pages. They turn me off. I like the newsprint.
Functional says $4? Dude, you didn't know?
Yeah.
Sorry to be the one to tell you, man.
$4 is the minimum.
Yeah, $4. Number ones, which are happening constantly because they're rebooting everything all the fucking time, restarting everything all the time. Yeah, those run like $6 to $9 for number ones.
Yeah.
Cover price, mind you, not like back issue price. I mean,
yeah. Whereas if you get an alternate comic, alternate is $1.50.
Yeah, and
they're on newsprint.
Yeah, and Browncoat Boaz says that I miss newsprint. You don't need to miss it. Alterna Comics is currently publishing on newsprint, and that's how they're able to do it cheap. I'd be okay with Marvel doing like Marvel Now, like a side press issue where they're doing it on an imprint that they're doing on newsprint. But I mean, that doesn't keep their numbers up and their shipments up, and that's what Marvel's got to do nowadays. So, you know,
the people who made glossy pages a thing, go fuck yourselves. I hope you step on Legos and they get printed into your foot and they can never get it out. So every time you take a step, you feel it. You're horrible people, and I don't like you.
So there it is. Jack Quiz. Who would like to go next?
I can go. Give me a second to get the screen share to work.
If it does.
And I am recommending X-Men Unlimited issue 1.
Cool.
This is from 1993. And the original cover price was $4.93.
Damn.
Yeah. This is an awesome book. This is written by Scott Lobdell with pencils by Chris Bacallo and Dan Panosian inker. Now, what the story here is that the X-Men are coming back from the Savage Land, and it's Xavier, Cyclops, and Storm, and someone shoots their plane down, and Scott loses his goggles in the process, his little ruby goggles. So he's running around with no goggles on. Xavier's injured. He has to go out and find Storm, and then Bishop and Psylocke come looking for them because they know something's wrong. But it is a fantastic story. Like the first half of it is all about them just trying to find each other, find out what's going on. And Xavier has to use his mental powers to keep Psylocke from blowing everything up just by looking. But Scott has to find Xavier first. And I love this image here. This is one of my favorites. But and of course there's supervillains in the mix. That's who shot him down. And it is a very thick comic. It's like 60 pages long.
Yeah.
So it's actually like novel length. I really like the story just for the premise of it. So not only do they have to survive the crash, they have to find out who did it. And it was a good time. I like this one a lot. And you can usually find this for about $2.
Sweet. I'm sorry, who is it that did the art on that?
Hold on, let me reopen the issue. It was Chris Bacalo, Bachalo.
Uh-huh.
I'm not familiar with who he is, but he's a pretty solid artist. Did a pretty decent job to the whole book. Has a very 90s look to it.
Yeah, it seems like it's a 90s kind of day so far.
Yeah. So, yeah, this was a really good book. I actually, when I started collecting comics again for the channel, I thought, well, I'm going to hunt that one down and reread it because I really like that one. And I found it for $1.70.
$1.70, Jesus.
Less than half the original cover price. It was $4 back in '93. That was like 3 comic books.
Yeah. Quiz. I'm having a minor technical issue that'll only take about 30 seconds to sort out, but if you could go next, that would be great.
Okay. Well, I'm breaking the cycle here because my pitch is definitely not 90s. It's actually published in, I want to say 2017.
Excuse me.
Written by Jim Zub and art by Nelson Daniel. My pitch is Dungeons and Dragons: Shadows of the Vampire. Now, for those that watch my channel in particular, I do D&D streams on my channel. I haven't done any in a while, but my absolute favorite setting for Dungeons and Dragons was Ravenloft. And those that are familiar with the setting of Ravenloft know that every person that goes to the land of Barovia was taken from someplace other than Barovia. They're transported in these mists that bring them to this land of horror. And it's this one in particular is all about, for those that have played the old D&D game, Baldur's Gate, would recognize at least this big lunk here. That would be Minsk and Boo, the barbarian ranger, and his was it giant mutant miniature space hamster was what they called him. Yeah, which was Boo. But it's essentially the story of a party in the Forgotten Realms. And they get into a fight with some werewolves here. And later on, after this fight, you can see the mist rolling in, and all of a sudden they are transported into this dark forest. And they are in the land of Count Strahd von Zarovich, Lord of Ravenloft. I absolutely love this book. For those that are familiar with Ravenloft, they will be very pleased with the book. I certainly enjoyed it, especially considering, I've played Baldur's Gate and I love Ravenloft, so it's two of my favorite things from Dungeons & Dragons combined. Check it out.
Nice. So, I believe, solved my problem. Let's find out. My pitch tonight is I am definitely sticking with the 90s theme, like in a really big way. I'm pitching Witchblade #1. Michael Turner was an artist that we were referring to earlier, and here he is. This is an Image Comics, originally Top Cow, put out by Image later. This is the digital edition of it with a different cover. The Witchblade is a great story, and it's so 90s because it's all about like art done in a very big, ostentatious way, as you can see here. page filling, strange use of panels, and the art kind of takes over the story. When people are having the discussions about it, what is Witchblade? Well, Sarah Pazzini, the main character, a police detective, she's hot as hell, and Michael Turner draws her hot as hell. He absolutely does. It kind of overshadows the fact that it's actually a really interesting story. The Witchblade is a glove. It's a gauntlet that a powerful magical, if you will, tool. It's an entity unto itself, referred to as the Witchblade, particularly because the simple short version of the story is only women can wield it. Hence, it's the blade of witches, the Witchblade. This individual right here, Mr. Nottingham, is he wants the power of the Witchblade, but he knows that he can't wield it as a man. So
so sexist.
Yeah, and here's Sarah Pazzini getting ready for her night out by putting on a latex dress, of course. There she is. Because she wants to fit into this. She's going undercover, and she is a detective, but she's also high flying and gun wielding and brave as hell and all sorts of other extremely 90s things. This is one of the most stereotypical 90s double pages ever.
Yeah.
Because of the action and the salaciousness of it, and we don't give a fuck. We're going to draw sexy women, extremely sexy, and just go over the top with it in terms of art style and every other damn thing. But the story itself is fascinating. He's putting together a show, if you will, a display where the Witchblade will be held by multiple people. They're going to try it on. He's going to find someone who's capable of wielding it. And of course, Sarah ends up being possibly the one who can, but it turns out having consequences that she never foresaw, and that becomes the story, the relationship between the Witchblade and Sarah Pazzini. The first comic, this one, Witchblade #1, introduces all of the main players and sets the groundwork for what the universe is like, what the Witchblade is, who Sarah is, and why all of this stuff matters for the series, for it to run for the rest of its time. It recently got finished and then is going to restart. But yeah, there's nothing like the original. Michael Turner's art is what it is. I mean, you look at it and he's got a very stark style, loves messing around with panels, having panels overlap and underlap and go over and top of each other. Yeah, and especially in the digital edition where it's redone, it's the color is remastered. It's fantastic to look at and oddly wordy, which you wouldn't expect. Like, it's very talky. There's lots of conversation, lots of development. Even when you go to the first page here, it's just the man standing there and thinking, but it lays out the entire point of what he's thinking, why he wants to do it, the politics of it all, the power plays that everyone's making against each other. I'd recommend it. It's a great throwback comic to 90s style. It's not always about Rob Liefeld 90s of angry brutes grimacing and shooting oversized space guns. Sometimes it's just over the top art and really wild imaginative stories and sexy babes. How can you go wrong? Oh, look, I forgot about that. The Reservoir Dogs poster she has in the background.
That thong shot, they're going to Photoshop over that for the Walmart release.
Yeah, they're going to put a big old granny panties on her.
She won't have a butt at all.
So there it is. My pitch is Witchblade #1. It's available from Comixology. It's available. Yeah, you could buy back issues of it, but it's going to be expensive because it's #1. It's available in a whole bunch of collected editions that have been reprinted over the years. That's the way I would buy it, as a used edition collected, because you'll get like 12 to 15 issues are in the first collected edition. It's going for like $20, or if you can buy it new on Amazon, if you do it that way, buy it as a collected edition. You can't go wrong. Great art, great story. A wonderful throwback to the 90s. And there it is.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that is our pitches for this evening.
I will say this though, don't be fooled about the Witchblade. I've got a buddy that's been trying to collect all of the individual issues. Oh my god, it's a nightmare.
Like all of the one-offs and such, you mean?
Yeah. Well, like individual issues of everything Witchblade, and it's
yeah. There was the Witchblade Wolverine special, and then another one, and lots of standalone one-offs in addition to the main series Witchblade. And there's Medieval Witchblade is a big thing, and there's a crossover between Medieval Witchblade and Medieval Spawn, because both of these things have been around for centuries. So let's tell an ancient Gothic fantasy horror story, really, with a Spawn Witchblade crossover. Yeah, it's worthwhile. Take note, writers, even if you want to do over the top sexy stuff, make sure there's a solid story underneath it. Make sure that there's some cake under the frosting, you know? With that said, gentlemen, final thoughts.
I'm not prepared for that.
I will. Well, neither am I. That's why I always have the same final thought. I'm just kidding. The same final thought is good. If you don't want to buy from the main two, Marvel and DC, buy used collected editions. One, support your local comic book shop, which is a great thing to do. And two, the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, 40 years of fantastic comics out there from both of them. Yeah, they've fallen off and you don't want to give your money to them. That's a fair comment. But there's 40, 50 years of great stories to enjoy. I'm constantly finding out about new series that I slept on back in the day that you can get as collected editions and so forth. Fantastic way to jump into comics. Collected editions are told as story arcs most of the time. So it's a question of where do I start? By buying a used collected edition. Yeah. It's going to be a complete story arc that's not going to leave you lost, not knowing who the hell these people are. They're collected like that on purpose. So it's a great place to go and a great way to do it.
And collected editions also, if they start with a story that's already got a little bit of backstory before it, it'll tell you exactly what happened and what you missed as a forward.
Yeah. So there it is. If anybody doesn't have any, Jack,
I got something here.
Okay.
27 years ago, one of my favorite writers was injured in a vehicle accident. He was hit by a hit and run driver.
Jeez.
And he was permanently disabled. And his brother's asking for help on GoFundMe because the medical bills have gotten out of hand. This is Bill Mantlo. He used to do the fill-in books. He wrote the entire series of ROM and Micronauts. And he's written just about every Marvel character. You've probably read his work if you read anything from the 80s. And as you can see, he is severely disabled and they really need medical help. So if you can help them with the GoFundMe, please do so. I'll throw the link in the chat.
Yeah, if you send me the link in the side chat, I'll put it in the description later for people that want to see it. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so there it is. Another one in the can. Thank you, chat, very much for coming by. If you haven't already, by all means, like and subscribe and share. And if you're listening in the future, by all means, leave a comment below. I get a chance to read them all and respond to most of them, and I love doing so. So until then, and until next week, Monkey, thank you for being here with us. We really appreciate it. It was great to have you on.
Oh, it's fun to be here.
Awesome. Yeah, hopefully you'll come back.
Yeah, we haven't dissuaded you from ever coming again, hopefully. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Take care, everyone.
Bye, everyone.